All right, guys, we're live. I think everyone can hear us. The one viewer that we
Check.
have, we appreciate you. Unless it's one of us, then I don't appreciate you guys.
Great.
But how are we doing? We got Steven Dykeman, Mr. Dewey, and myself, as always. We're here to do some talking Swish. I didn't think we were going to be doing it this week since Steven's been pretending to be sick all week.
Yeah. I'm feeling a lot better now, which is good. I was like having trouble talking yesterday, but
Yeah, it was nice.
I don't I don't know what in the world was going on. I wonder if I had a really weird reaction to the booster shot at this point because of the timeline of when I had this, but who knows?
Yeah, I
Whatever though,
thought
I'm
I
feeling
thought it was a side effect personally, that you were
yeah.
just getting because that some of the things is like it feels like you're just having like a cold. Those kind of things can be some of the side effects. Um,
Yeah.
I had a sore arm for a day longer than I usually do from the booster, which is weird, but
Oh.
and it was more extreme this time too. Like my arm literally felt like it wanted to fall off. It was
Yeah, man, that
weird.
was literally the worst like sore throat feeling I've like ever had in my life. My tonsils were like all inflamed and just felt like rocks at the back of my throat, and I like couldn't swallow one of the nights. It was really rough. I probably will not be getting another booster shot anytime soon. I'll tell you that much. If that's what's going to happen every time I get one, I'm not down for that. But
Well, hold on a second. You don't want a sore throat, but would you rather be in the hospital?
good point.
You know, just think of it
Yeah, I
like
feel like
that.
I would gladly take the sore throat.
I'll take a sore throat instead of a ventilator down my throat or wherever the hell it's going.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
fair.
every time I would take that trade.
100%. Saying you're gonna be wishing that you went and got that booster and had some cough drops. Funny thing, they
Yeah,
sell cough drops right at the place you get the booster, so you're good. You are
yeah.
Gucci, my friend.
I guess next time I'll just need to be more prepared.
Yeah, it just I think your body's just so weak and can't fight off these boosters, so because you eat no vegetables,
Could be.
you know
Could be.
that
Who
probably
knows?
probably doesn't help the body much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, to kickstart and get off our vaccine and booster shot talk before people start running with pitchforks at us. Um, I know a good. Yeah, Zyphon, that's unfortunate. I know we were talking about that briefly. Hope it
Yeah,
works
it's
out
brutal,
for
man.
him.
hmm
Yeah, I definitely don't like to see somebody in that situation. But tonight, it's a weird to transition from that over to this. But um,
Yeah, that is.
but mentioning of bad things happening, we have a special guest tonight. Um,
Yep.
he's across the pond, across the Grand River, whatever's dividing Detroit and Grand Rapids. There's a river probably somewhere between us.
Did you
So
just say that's the pond across the pond?
I
yeah,
did. That
it
is
sounded
what he said.
way
Okay.
better than down the highway. But
My word.
we have the guy behind all of the content creation for nice little RAW. Was it Making Magic Happen? I believe that's the name
Yep.
of their YouTube channel. We actually, me and
Yep.
Steven during the pandemic even joined Zach on one of his videos. I remember
We
that.
did, and I joined one of his videos at the store
Yep,
actually during the pandemic at one point. So
yep, this is
Nice.
all very true. I remember when you went out there because he put like your head on a zombie or whatever.
yep, my head on Crit Breaker.
Yep, that's what it was. Yeah, Zach, known Zach for a while. Me and him, I went on a few trips with him and James. Me and Zach had some fun trips doing that. We actually just saw him over at SCG Con over the weekend too. Not this past weekend as it's Tuesday. Time flies. Jesus, feel like we just got back from SCG Con. It's crazy. But yeah, we're gonna have Zach Allen on. For those that don't know him, I definitely follow him. He has done really well on the SCG tour, been to multiple pro tours. Definitely a Magic player that you want to follow for content as well. But let's go ahead and bring him on. So I'm gonna let Steven do that.
Okie doke. And let's give him an ad. Boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
All
I
right.
just give
Sweet.
Steven a shout out for learning technology. Like, I am so proud of this man right now.
Well, I've always known how to add somebody on. What's up, Alan?
It's good, man.
Oh man, we got Zach Allen on the podcast. How are we doing, my friend?
Mm-hmm.
Good, man. Good. Excited to fucking cast. Wait, can I curse?
Yeah, this is the internet, bro. We are
Got it.
online.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'm ready to do this.
Alan, before you even came on, we were debating if you had a beard right now or not. Would you say you have a little bit of a beard right now?
I've got a couple days growth on a goatee, but I would say it's just more laziness.
That's fair enough. I was saying that we used to call you Sexy Beard, so...
I mean, the beard still looks real good when you let it go, but I have been keeping it in check as I've gotten swole. There's a swollenness to beard ratio you got to keep.
All right, fair enough.
Where is
That's
this?
not you get even like more swole when you have a beard, but I can't grow one very well, so I'm sad.
At
Fair
some
enough,
point,
dude.
does the swole ratio require you to shave your head? Because I feel like that's a thing.
That is a thing. That is a thing. I don't ever want to get that swole. I have a cap.
Swole. Too
I don't
swole.
want to be. My hair is like my only redeeming quality when it comes to the women, so I need to keep that one in check.
You don't think you
Nice.
can pull off the bald look? We call you Zach, like Stone Cold Steve Allen. Think about it.
We both get names, so I don't hate it. Maybe I need to look into this.
Like, I think it'd be awesome. You can every time you walk into an SCG event, you can have the glass shatter.
All right. Okay, I actually kind of fuck with this a lot. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Although, actually, I still don't really want to shave my head. That's tough, man.
That is
Yeah, that's a
tough.
lot of dedication too.
We'll get you a wig. We'll get you a wig when you don't want to be shaved. It's fine.
Like, I buzz my hair because I'm lazy, but like there's a big difference between like pulling out the razor and cutting it to like a 2 or a 3 and like going like skin. You know what I mean?
hmm
For sure.
That is way different.
Yeah, we have a buddy named Brandon Darnell. Just gonna name drop him real quick. That he's pretty lazy, so you can just see his hair coming in, and there's a lot of like spots.
Yeah.
It's thankfully you're not. If you went bald, it'd be by choice. Where a lot of people that go bald don't have that.
Fair. I don't think I would go bald by choice, so I think we're waiting for the male pattern baldness to kick in. Otherwise, this isn't gonna happen.
Hopefully soon.
Well, I could just start taking some steroids to get really swollen, and the hair will just fall out and just solve it for me.
Yeesh. That's true. Just naturally keeping that ratio.
You know, he's gonna start going. He's gonna be playing Magic while flexing. It's gonna be awesome.
Yep, just being.
Oh, dude, I'd love to see him and Darnell just outflex each other while playing Legacy.
That would be hilarious. They. But yeah, Zach. How'd you enjoy SCG Con?
SCG Con was great. It not a very good tournament for me. I got pretty unlucky on day one. Still had a good day two, but couldn't salvage the mediocre day one. And I just feel like overall, you know, even when you're a good player, to actually win or like top 8 a tournament requires some amount of luck.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I didn't have any on the weekend, and that's okay. I was like pretty happy with my play overall, so not gonna complain about it. But outside of like the actual tournament, the weekend was just awesome. I mean, cubing with y'all was sweet. Got to cube the next day too. It was just a really fun weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the YouTube Cube updates that you, or not the Twitter. The Twitter Cube updates that you were putting. Twitter was cracking me up.
Oh yeah, CubeCon.
Yeah.
Honestly, I told Harlan too. Like when I got there, I was like, "Yeah, we're doing all this stuff, but I just want to cube." And I told him, it was like, we got there on Wednesday before, and I was like, I know we're not gonna get to cube until like Saturday night, but it's all I want. Can we do this? And we couldn't get one until Saturday. But then when we started, it was great, and got pretty unfortunate in the first draft. Dykeman knows all I do is draft mono white, and he still tried to draft mono white right next to me and cut me off.
Well, it knows that it's also what. Well, so here was the issue. The issue was I packed one, pick one, an upheaval, and no one was giving me green Manadorks, which is what I wanted to do in that first draft. And then I did the classic, oh my god, my archetype isn't open. I need to abandon it and just start drafting white cards. Because that's the strat when things are going badly. But Yeah, me and Alan just cut each other into medium and a half white decks, and they were both pretty medium. Yours was a little better than mine, but neither of them were particularly good. And Raja crushed us with his blue black deck.
Yeah,
That monster.
it was unfortunate. Losing to Raja in Cube Draft is the actual worst. There is no worse feeling. So it made me pretty sad to lose to him, especially because Green ended up being open that draft. That was the real travesty. Is it you
Yep.
were right? You weren't getting Green, but it was because no one opened Green cards in their
Yep.
first pack.
Yep.
And then pack 2, it's like Green is just wide open and no
Yep.
one's drafting it because you
Yep.
moved off.
I remember that too, but at that point I had already abandoned it. It was too late.
Too late to
Yeah.
go start into a pack 2. You're right.
That's like that is a known issue with Cube, and it's a classic problem I have with my Cube, and I'm never sure if it's right to fix it because that stems from just random packs. Because when you do random packs, you're not gonna have like a green card in every pack, and sometimes you'll just have like right there, like pack one, pick one, where there's just very few green cards open for the whole first pack. So
Yeah.
you get weird signals because the packs aren't collated. And the other thing you can do is you can make it so that every pack that gets made for the cube has like 2 green cards, 2 blue cards, 2 red cards, 2 artifacts or whatever.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And I've talked to people, and there's people who do it both ways. There's people who just swear by random, just so that the play experience is really different every time. And I know Andrea Mengucci, I've talked to him a few times about it, is a big fan of the collated packs.
I was gonna say on MTGO, do they collate it? Because I've never had that.
Yeah, MTGO has collation.
That makes sense because I've never
it's
seen
not-
that issue happen online.
It's not as strong
Okay.
on MTGO, but you'll never see a single pack on MTGO that you open not have one of the colors in it.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
We had in the local area for Grand Rapids, our friend Andrew City. He always did the collations for his cubes because he's got a bunch of them. He did move away from it only when you have really, really good randomization. So anytime he was seeing people get lazy with his cubes, he would go back to the collation, I believe.
Interesting.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely buy that. But even like it is so hard to randomize a 540 card cube. Like it just
Yeah.
takes so long. to shuffle that-
And it only takes like 1 or 2 packs that are like heavily in 1 or 2 colors to screw up the entire draft. So
Yep. And you can't even like really fix that. It's just so random. Like even if it is random, like completely random, you're still gonna have a pack that has like 8 red cards in it or something. Like that just happens randomly because that's how random works.
right.
Mhm.
So I don't know. We were talking about it, but after me and Dykeman cut each other in white, Dykeman looks at me and he's like, dude, I mean, neither of us had Thalia, and that's like the one card. Is like if you have Thalia, you're definitely mono white, and like the other person has to get off of it, And neither of us had it, so we are just like kind of forcing it. And then day 2, the second time I draft with Dykeman, I open a pack that's like. Literally 13 out of the 15 cards were red or white, and there was a Thalia. So I was just like, all right, well, I'm taking Thalia. And I passed this pack that's all red and white cards, and then Dykeman goes, I should have known you'd be white after. I was like, what do you want, man? I opened a Thalia and no power. Like,
Good call. It was a good call. And then we met in the finals. We met in the finals in the classic mono white versus mono red face off, dude. Just the classic finals.
Actually, you're saying it's classic, but I will actually point out that mono red has been pretty bad in Vintage Cube for a few years. It's actually been a while since mono red was good in Vintage Cube. It's always been very good in Legacy Cube, and most cubes it's fine to do mono red. But I honestly think that mono red's been bad in Vintage Cube for like 3 or 4 years, and mono white was just a much better deck than mono red in Vintage Cube specifically, where there's like power and stuff.
Yeah.
But you had 2 really big cards, and they mattered a ton in the matchup.
So my approach to mono red and vintage is always take the artifact destruction before everything else. So like Fiery Confluence is I pick that above pretty much everything else in red aggro because that card's just so insane.
Sure.
Take a Braid really high. I take Shield Breaker pretty high. Just really anything that can blow up artifacts because those are just so important to be able to beat the unfair nonsense. But yeah, you may be right. I don't play that much cube, but
well, I mean, I have played a lot, even online. Red can win. Like you can get a good red deck, but it's just not generally that great. Like as an archetype as a whole. But Honestly, I think MH2 really changed that. Like, Ragavan, Dragon's Race Channeler,
Yeah.
Fury, all really big cards, and
Yep.
Fury was a really big part of our match. Like,
It was. Yeah, it was
you
for
just
sure.
like I'm just sitting there like I have all these X1s in my mono white deck. Like, how am I ever beating a Fury? I'm just not. And then I lost the Fury.
Sounds like a nightmare card scenario for you for sure.
Yeah, Fury's insane, man. All those elementals in MH2 are just so ridiculous.
Well,
They're
they
quite
are
good.
for sure, but like Grief and Solitude are just good. Like they're never a 2-for-1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can be, but like it's
Yeah.
mostly not. It's just a good card. Fury like can be just absolutely backbreaking. Like,
Yeah,
you
it
have
can be
4 X1s out. It's like what the heck?
Yeah. For sure, it can be absolutely insane.
But yeah, so I don't know. I was actually really happy to see you win that one because it means that Mono Red's back. So like, you know, the cube having a viable Mono Red deck and a viable Mono White deck lets you really put some of the more just nonsense blue stuff in there, which is what people want anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It is, yeah.
What everybody usually gravitates towards, right?
Yep. So that's cool, and I actually put Lear in there this weekend, and I heard some.
That's a good call. Yeah,
Lear's a sweet
Flyer,
magic
Lear
card.
is so awesome. Yeah, such a busted card. I like that one being in the cube for sure.
Yeah, I did not think that card. Well, we did the preview podcast for what was it, Midnight Hunt, and we thought Lear was just a commander card. We
really okay.
Yeah, we thought.
I was gonna say, it does kind of look like that, and I can see like why you think that. And I guess like my first reaction was kind of that, but like literally after like 2 games with the card, I was like, okay,
this
once
is no play.
Yeah. So the weird thing about Lear, to me, is when you initially read the card. At least when I like first read cards, sometimes I like skim them and don't actually like read them fully and focus on what they actually say.
Mm-hmm.
I just assumed that Lear could only cast one extra spell a turn and only on your own turn, because those things would just make sense to me. And then neither of those things are the case.
Yeah, I was like, none of that's on the card.
Quickly found out after playing against it once or twice. I was like, wait, it can do this. Wait, it can do this. And then, like, I even had it in one of my limited decks, but in limited, you usually only get one spell off it, so you're not even necessarily paying attention to how insane it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that card's so crazy. Such a format-defining card for sure. It was definitely felt like the breakout card of the weekend, which was kind of my expectation going into Standard over the weekend, was that it would be the breakout card.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. It was already starting to see a little play. I don't think the World's decks had it, but you could see that the Epiphany decks were getting there.
Yeah, Grixis. Some of the Grixis decks had it, right? Some of the whoever was playing Grixis.
It was supposed to be the breakout at Worlds, but like it just didn't break out.
Yeah.
But Worlds was different because it was like there's draft was like influencing part of it, so it's like, you know, I don't know. It's hard to say that it broke out there, but it really set the tone for this event with like, okay, they figured out Lear was broken, but they didn't quite get the right shell. And honestly, I spent a ton of time testing Lear, and then Lear decks did awesome at this event. There was a bunch of Lear decks all over the place, and they weren't all the same thing.
Nope.
I really like my list. I think it was one of the better lists from the event. I got, you know, I myself didn't do good, but Stanley and Kellen both played it, and Kellen top aided, and he did. I mean, it was great for them. So I think it was good. And then crap, I can't remember his name now. Dominic Palurso or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but he made it to the finals playing the Lear deck that I think.
He was on the snow build, right?
He was on the snow build. Yeah. He got it from Stanley. And just straight. I think copy paste.
I got my list from Stanley too, and only made 1 or 2 edits. So a lot of Robert Stanley influence in this SCG.
Yeah, he was all over the metagame. Although I will say, at the end of the day, he did play my Grixis deck. So
that is true. He did. He did play your Grixis deck.
He admitted that my build was better than his, and then played Grixis. So
fair.
Win for the home team.
Should say it. Although he finished higher than me, so it's hard for me to really brag too much. But.
With your deck, though, think of it.
I actually finished higher than what place did Robert Stanley finish? Was he like 16th?
I think he got 18th.
18th. Well, then I can say with Robert Stanley's Blue Blacklist, I finished higher than both of you guys on Grixis, but Kellen finished higher than me. So
Who'd
I
he
Yeah,
guess
beat?
Kellen got there.
Grixis wins the day.
I mean, the snow deck made it to the finals, so I don't even know if that's
I
true.
guess that's fair. Yeah, all of them were really good.
Mhm.
The thing that was the big innovation, I think, for both decks was Sedgemoor Witch was very key for blue black especially. That like gave you a good chance against blue red, which it didn't. The blue red matchup felt really hard for the blue black liar list that I was testing on stream. Without Witch, it was just kind of hard to pressure them and kill them. And so the blue black list had Witch, and then obviously your guys' Grixis list had some number of witches too, in addition to eggs. But
Um, yeah, no, and you're right. Which was the huge innovation, and that was the thing we came to in testing was like, okay, he first was like, all right, let's try Witch. We try Witch, well, he does this before me, but his initial innovation was try Witch. We try the Witch, and it's like, okay, the Witch is really good. Let's keep working on it. So we keep working on it, and then we come to the conclusion that it's like, okay, Witch is so good, we just want more witches. Like 4 is not enough,
sure.
and the one problem with Witch is it's at an awkward part on the curve because in blue black specifically, the 2-mana removal spells suck. They all have issues in some way or another, and it's just like none of them are right, and it's just kind of random which one's better at any given time, and it's hard to know. So basically, all the 2-mana removal spells suck, but the 3-mana removal spells were pretty good, and Divide by Zero is like a must play because it's just so good with Leader. So like at 3 on the 3 spot on the curve, it was just like you were just really flooded, and it was like, well, can I play a 2-mana witch? Like if I could have a 2-mana witch, that'd be insane. And it turns out Egg was often like a 2-mana witch. Like it's not the same thing, but it played similarly.
Yeah.
And just like having a more witches, just I think is what really made the Grixis. It really gave the Grixis deck its extra kick.
Yeah. So after the event, do you think the Grixis deck is better than the Baumeister Nelson Blue Red deck? Do you think they're about the same? What's your opinion on that? Because I haven't really played Blue Red straight up at all. I've played against it obviously a lot. I feel like the deck seems really good as well. What's kind of your take on Grixis versus that deck?
I mean, I thought before that Grixis was better, and I still think after Grixis is better.
Okay.
I think the blue-red deck did good because it had literally all of the best players in the room playing it. Not all of them, but like any player that's played on the Pro Tour that's like a known player played this blue-red deck.
Yeah.
So you put in, there's a ton of pilots playing it, but a lot of them told me it wasn't even that good. Like Corey Baumeister won the event with it, but he didn't even do that good in Standard. He crushed Modern.
That's true, yeah.
Mhm.
Didn't he go like 701 or something in Modern?
Yeah, he's 701 Modern.
Yeah, with that
Yeah,
shadow.
that's totally nuts.
Yeah, so like, it's hard to say that, he absolutely smashed it. He still did good in Standard, don't get me wrong. Like, he definitely did good. But I tested both decks, and I really felt like then, and I still feel like now, that a good green player is going to beat you on that blue-red deck. Like, you can win. It's not like you are 0%, but like I felt like a good green player could beat you on that when they were playing green versus blue-red. And if you lost the die roll with that blue-red deck, you struggled.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was about to ask, does the die roll play into this?
Yeah,
I assumed it probably did.
I think if you were on the play, you can certainly win.
Right.
But it was hard, and you needed to just not draw too many epiphanies to the point where like it, gave you not enough interaction or not enough lands to actually play them. But if you didn't draw any epiphanies, then you just don't do anything. All of your like you aren't playing real kill spells in the deck. You have a couple, but like for the most part, you're kind of just trying to fading hope them out of the game, which only goes so long. Like you need to hit your epiphanies or you're gonna lose. And the deck is consistent. It's powerful, certainly, but I don't know. I would have played Grixis. I still feel like Grixis was better, and I felt like Grixis was favored heads up because game one is close. You can outplay them. You have duress and divide by zero, so you're kind of stalling, but your creatures can kill them. And then post board, when you add test of talents to the equation, like they don't have anything in your deck that they can test the talents that hamstrings you. But if you test of talents their epiphanies, they just kind of lose. Like they can't kill you
Their
anymore.
deck is so medium.
Yeah, and like they have Leer and stuff, but it's like you also have Go Blank, which just makes their Leers stink, and it's just
Yeah, the black splash is gonna definitely give you a nice little edge there.
Yeah,
So
and we actually found that the black whoever played more Go Blanks in the Lear decks just won the Lear mirrors.
makes
Mhm.
That was
sense.
part. Our Grixis deck was cheating on Go Blanks. We only had two, and that was why the Snow deck crushed us. Kellen got crushed in the top eight playing against the Snow Lear deck because the
Hmm.
Snow Lear deck had four Go Blanks.
So
Makes sense.
hindsight being 2020, you'd play a couple, one, two more copies of that card.
Yeah, if I knew that Lear like the control Lear decks were going to be as popular as they were, I would have. I
Right.
really thought there was going to be like four people playing them total.
Sure.
There wasn't really
Total.
that many more than it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a few more than just four. Just a few though.
I mean, I think everyone that played it did good though, because I don't think there was actually that many people playing blue black.
No, funny enough, the first guy I played, literally round one, I played a mirror match. He wasn't on Witch, but he was at the top tables at the end of day two. So even that guy, like some just like random guy playing blue black with Lear
Yeah.
was still crushing. So
Did you guys follow a lot of the decks that were at the top tables? Because I don't know if you've seen the Psycho that was playing the Glimpse Living End deck or whatever.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I saw
that
that.
that was my
nice.
hero.
Oh yeah.
Like
Lord.
when I saw him Cascade and I was expecting like Rhinos or Living End or something, and he went Glimpse, I was like, this is a man with taste.
Oh yeah.
This is a man that values this free tournament.
All right.
Yeah,
If you like playing a deck like that can get some flavor and some free wins, do I have the deck for you, Larry?
Oh, you're gonna have to send it my way. I like those decks 'cause don't get me wrong, they're much better to play online. Cause that Glimpse deck, oh man, you want to talk about getting some nice little warnings. There's
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, that's a good deck for that.
That glimpse deck can be tough, but hear me out. I was playing a deck in Modern last night in a league, 4-1 to league in about 20 minutes, multiple turn 3 kills. This deck was nice. Real nice.
Ooh,
Okay.
I think I might have broke Modern.
right.
I love me a league that can be done in 20 minutes.
All right. Storm Herald Reanimator.
Okay. That's
This
pretty
deck's-
cool.
It sounds terrible, but the deck is actually like surprisingly very good.
Okay.
And it does just some really stupid things. Like the deck is literally built around putting an Eldrazi conscription on a creature on turn 3 and attacking with it.
Mhm.
So like Annihilator 2 on turn 3 is busted.
Really?
Whereas like Annihilator 2 later in the game doesn't do anything. Like they made it so that Eldrazi conscription was a fair card because it is a fair card when you actually cast it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the only other way to cheat it into play before was like 6 mana or whatever with Sovereigns of Lost Lara.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I was
Um,
all over that deck. So
That deck
I'm
was
in on
cool.
this.
Yeah, but like this deck can put multiple copies of it on your guy on turn 3. It's really absurd. And yeah, so I was playing it with Raja last night. We were just testing this deck and it was like, all right, this looks like a meme, but we're just absolutely smashing decks that are like $2,000 moto decks, like Omnap to Fair, like Solitude, all of them.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
Like attack you for 20 on turn 3. Can you stop this? No. All right,
That's
well
funny.
you're dead.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's nice.
How much is
Check
that
out
deck to
Larry.
build in paper?
Cheap, dude. It's actually well. If you had the lands, the deck costs like actual nothing.
Okay.
The most expensive card is Thoughtseize, probably
Right.
outside of the lands.
Oh, did Aussies go down at all
Definitely.
because it's in the Pioneer event deck?
Yeah, Thoughtseizes are like $15 now. Maybe Flusterstorms. I have Flusterstorms in the sideboard. Maybe those are more expensive.
Yeah, Flusterstorms are probably like what 20 a piece, something like that, which is not
Yeah, 20.
unreasonable.
Something.
Um,
I don't know.
This could be a deck I could see me playing at that. What is it called? Store Championship, Game Day, whatever.
I mean, seriously, try it out. It seems like a meme, but the deck is way better than it looks. And the transformative sideboard was actually super hot. I've like really enjoyed this transformative sideboard.
We'll
Yeah.
have to make sure a Swish member plays it at F&M next week, and we put him on camera. That would be hilarious.
Look, dude, I'm telling you, try it out. But the transformative sideboard is really sick. I don't know if you've tried Sedgemoor Witch and Flusterstorm.
All right.
Oh my
But that
God.
is nonsense. It like goes really crazy.
Oh,
That's pretty sweet.
Sedgemoor Witch and Storm cards in general is pretty nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like you just board into like a Sedgemoor Witch Reanimator deck, and then you just Flusterstorm stuff, and it's kind of absurd. I don't know. The deck's really sweet.
Sounds funny.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm definitely down. I'd jam stuff like that. I love playing. I don't know if you know, Zach. Over at our Monday Night Modern for a while, I was playing this great Eldrazi deck that played Metalwork Colossus and Elder Deep Fiend in the same list.
All right, this deck sounds horrible, but I'm in. Let's do
It
it.
was hot. What is that? What is
It was
my
horrible. It
my
was really
my mana rocks? What were they? Boulder posts? Is that what the name of the card is? So-
Jesus, you're playing the border posts?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you want to get
Oh
Metalwork
gosh.
Colossus out there fast, bro.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I
But
will
wow, that's not really bad.
every round and game I won. It's because I drew my Urza sagas, but that
Okay,
had
that's
nothing to
not
do with
weird.
it. That had nothing to do with it. It wasn't the saga that won me the game.
That sounds right. Actually, that sounds really accurate.
Um,
But seriously, Stormhail Reanimator. My last 2 leagues, I'm 9-1, which leagues aren't like, the be all end all.
You
But
Gotta
5-0?
start somewhere.
yeah, my last 2 leagues, I'm 5-0 and 4-1.
oh Jesus, that's gonna
It's
be on
pretty
the
sweet.
deck dump. You're gonna give some poor
Yeah,
sap
it's
out
already
there hope.
it was already in the deck though. I actually recorded a video. Like there's a video of me playing the deck.
Oh,
on
is
YouTube,
it?
you can
Oh,
check it
okay.
out, yeah.
I have to check that video out then.
We will probably have to check that out. That sounds really cool.
While
But
we're
yeah, so we
talking
made
about
some-
while we're talking about your video, real quick, you want to play what? What's the name of your YouTube channel? I want to make sure we got it correct when we're talking about it.
Sure, it's called RW Makes Magic. RW space makes space magic, and it's more casual. It's not. I'm not going like crazy with it. I'm not posting content as consistently as I'd like, but we built a studio at the RW Hobbies and Games building in Livonia, Michigan. So I'm putting stuff that we record in the studio up there, and just some random leagues I play when I have a cool idea or whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Stormhollow deck sounded like a meme, and it sounded fun, so I was like, I'll try it. It turns out that it's actually just faster than a lot of the modern format. Like there just isn't a very fast combo deck out there right now. There kind of is Belcher, and Belcher's actually been pretty successful because there's very little force negation going around. And there's also very little graveyard hate going around. So like it's the type of deck someone could easily hate out if they want to, but if they're not hating it out, what it's doing is like really broken. So it fits modern. Like it's not a deck I would ever play if everyone has main or Leyland on the board in their sideboard or whatever. But if people are cheating on graveyard hate like they are now, because it feels like a fair arms race, you just play against all these Omnaths and Teferis and 5-mana things and no force negations, and they just die. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I've really enjoyed the deck, so worth checking out.
Very cool, man.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely check your video out for that. That sounds like a good time. I love turning people with bad decks.
Dude, the deck, there's definitely some jank to it, but there's some other things that are just like, like I don't know. There's some draws with it that just actually feel super unfair.
Right.
The deck plays Thoughtseize, so like you actually you have draws in games where you Thoughtseize you, Is It Charmed, discard 2 Eldrazi conscriptions. They have nothing. Cast Storm Herald, attack you for 17. You sacrifice 4 permanents. They're just dead.
Yeah, they can't beat that.
Pretty hot.
Man, they're tripping if they can't beat that. That's so easy to beat. You don't have no lands in play, but you should be able to win. Where's your main board Forest of Vigors?
Also, I will point out, there's a lot of red removal right now and not very much black removal. And the white removal spell that everyone's playing is Sorcery Speed.
Yep.
So when you put haste stuff with it, it's tough. And the Storm Herald trigger is a really weird trigger. It doesn't target. So if you have other creatures in play and you cast Storm Herald, there's no one thing they can kill. Whatever they kill, the other thing gets all the auras.
Yeah.
So the deck looks like it'd be really bad against red removal and is actually really good against it.
Yeah, they
Sure.
pretty much have to kill the Storm Herald before it even attacks.
Well,
Or
yes, but then the auras don't target. So if they kill the Storm Herald with your reanimation on the track or on the stack, then you just put it on your Stitcher supplier and attack them. It just doesn't work.
I think I'm getting a mix up. So the Storm Herald's the enter the battlefield trigger.
Yeah, it enters the battlefield
Okay.
and it says return any number of auras from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to creatures you control.
Okay,
So
that
there's no
is that
target,
is
so
a
they
little
can't-
tough.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
get blown out by anything, which is kind of the way you need to word a card like that if you're going to print it, because the card would just be so bad otherwise.
Makes
Yeah.
sense, yeah.
But because they worded it that way, Unholy Heat and Lightning Bolt just don't do anything against you, which is really
So
cool.
it pretty much has to be Solitude. Solitude is
and-
the best removal spell for it.
Solitude's a
Or
problem.
Endurance. Endurance, I guess, seems
Yeah,
pretty good against this too.
The 2 elementals are a problem, and I'm working on a way to fix that. But
Okay,
I don't-
all
there's
right,
not good. There's not a good way.
That's fair. Yeah. How does dress down work with like Storm Herald? If you dress down with Storm Herald on the stack, does it just enter as a 1/1, I
Yeah,
assume,
because
or
it has no
whatever?
Yeah,
abilities.
yeah.
Okay.
The dress down's kind of a blowout too.
Okay.
But I'm playing four Thought Seizes, and that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
best answer I have right now.
Makes sense.
We actually blew out a dress down yesterday because just the best looting spell you get is It Charm, but it's also nice
So you
to
get a
get.
counter. Yeah, that's
Yep, you
pretty
get a
hot.
counter spell.
What color
Um,
is this deck?
it's Grixis,
Oh,
so
Grixis. Yeah.
Grixis. Okay.
the only reason it works is because you have a density of looting spells now. Like obviously
Hmm.
Faithless Looting's banned, but between Prismari Command and It Charm, you actually get like versatile looting effects.
Yep.
And it came up in all the leagues. It was like, well, Izzet Charm was insane. It's like one is the best setup spell in the deck, but also like on the turn you go off, it's counter protection, or like sometimes you just have to kill a Ragavan, and it does all that. Kills Luris too. It came up big that it was they could kill Luris.
Yep.
And Prismari Command was huge too because there's not very much graveyard hate right now, but the graveyard hate people are playing tend to be Soul Guide Lantern or now Spellbomb.
So you
Hmm.
get to blow those up.
Yep, and I had that come up where I was like against Hammer Time, the guy fetched his Nile Spellbomb off his Urza Saga, blow it
Yep.
up, and then reanimate my
And then
guys.
go off. Yep.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that
So
is.
I don't know. It again, like it looks like just a complete meme, but it's like just doing powerful things. So it's a cool deck. It's worth trying.
That's sweet, man.
Yeah, no,
Sounds like a neat one.
I love a deck that you said you could play in 20 minutes.
It goes, dude. Your games are like 3 turns. It goes quick.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Because
When we were talking about it, we're like, this deck has a danger territory, and that's turn 4. If you've made it to turn 4, you know you've lost. So just kill him first.
Funny.
At
And
least
it does actually have turn 2 kills. I'll say that too. The deck has legit just turn 2 kill you, which is
oh, it's
seems
because
crazy,
of
but
Stitcher Supplier.
yeah, because you're playing Unearth and Stitcher Supplier. So if you just go like turn 1 Stitcher Supplier, hit reasonable things, turn 2 Stitcher Supplier, Unearth, like you can kill people.
Yeah.
You need luck in your top 6 cards, but you also have Otherworldly Gaze, so it's kind of like a way. Otherworldly Gaze is a lot better than it looks, by the
Oh
way.
no, that they play it in Dredge, and
Yep.
I'm very impressed by that card. Because the one thing about like those effects, like Tome Scour and stuff, they were good in Dredge. But this, being able to like look at the top three, maybe there's a Thoughtseize or like a Nature's Claim, for example, that
Yep.
usually doesn't benefit you in the graveyard, and you can be like, all right, pitch these other cards that are gonna be good in the graveyard, but I'll keep this and I'll just naturally draw now.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the biggest reasons why this deck even works,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so crucial to find Storm Herald or a way to reanimate it. So like Otherworldly Gaze, like putting the random auras in the yard, but also helping you find either the reanimation spell or the Storm Herald is like really key. I don't know. Enough on this deck, but definitely one you should try out. It's a really cool deck.
Storm
Fair.
Herald is basically just Splinter Twin, huh?
That's what I'm saying, man. Storm Herald Eldrazi conscription was just it's so good.
It
It
is
sounds
pretty
good.
sweet.
It sounds hot. Like we're definitely gonna have to mess around with that. That sounds like a good time right there. Yeah, I feel like you can make some players very salty.
Oh yeah.
Like if they're
People get
4-0 and that's how they end their run to a 5-0. Oof, oof. Talk about angry. So
Oh man.
you're more knowledgeable of how the SCG circuit works and everything. I know because of the pandemic they had to cancel everything. Are they still doing a players championship for everyone that was before the pandemic? Do you know?
I do know. Well, so I was actually qualified for the Players Championship.
Yep.
They gave out a qualification to the 3 people that were on top of the leaderboard of the half shortened season
Mhm.
when COVID hit, and that was part of um, like the promise of the season was the people who finished top 3 on the leaderboard got an invite, and then the person who won the last or Players Championship got an invite. So that was Oliver Tomiko,
Yep.
and then me and 2 other people. Um, and unfortunately, it's they might do another Players Championship. I don't know their plans on that, but they at the invitational they reached out to all of the people that were qualified for the one that they promised and said it's just too long now from when that happened, and so we all reached an agreement where they paid out the prize money that was part of what they owed us. So it's really cool that they honored it.
It's cool.
But it's still just super sad. Like if you ever gave me the choice between like a high stakes invite only small field tournament versus just getting paid out 1/16 of like what the promise prize money was.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
I would just take I'm taking the tournament every single time. It's not close. It's like
Right.
people don't play Magic to make money generally. There's not very
Oh,
many
we
who
talk
do.
about this all the time. Like, if
Yeah,
you're
you do it because
playing,
you love it, right?
Yep.
if you
Like
play
this,
Magic to make money, you're in the wrong game.
exactly. Like it's cool when you can make money playing Magic. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong,
Agreed.
but you're not playing Magic to get rich. You're playing Magic because you love the game because it's an awesome game, and
Yep.
You're
I
trying to
still
get
feel
to
that
that.
way.
Yeah, you're trying to get to that tournament. That's my biggest issue with how the OP system and stuff is working right now. Is there's not a paper tournament to grind for right now. Like I expect the
Yeah,
SCG tour to have something once they can get. I get it. They have to walk on eggshells right now because you don't know what's gonna happen in the next coming months. Um.
yeah. The COVID situation has just made everything untenable. Like
Mm-hmm.
SCG Con was a lot to set up.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, like there's vaccine mandates, masks, like all this stuff, and it's like if you're gonna do an event like that, you need those things, and it's cool that SCG did them.
Yep.
But it's a lot to expect that they would be able to do that in a bunch of different cities, like on a tour.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yep.
like
Yeah.
until things are normal, which who knows at this point? Because I mean, we're going on like over like almost 2 years
Yeah.
at this point,
Yep.
and there's no end in sight. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, but it's
Yeah.
tough right now.
I think
Yep.
our best bet, at least on our end, is probably just the NRG series right now. It's very limited events. They're not like super big like how SCG Con and stuff are, like number
Yeah,
wise.
yeah, and I'm going to the next energy event.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's the next one, the team one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Nice.
it's the next one.
What seat are you in?
So, we actually haven't decided yet. I am not playing sealed. Raj will play sealed for us.
Okay.
That's a good call.
Yeah, Raj is a really good sealed player.
Yep.
Um, well, let me clarify that. Raj is a really good Magic player. He does
Yep.
not practice sealed at all, but he just does
And
well in
just
sealed,
and just
even when he
crushes
doesn't
anyway.
practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he has told us he's going to practice for this, so I have very high hopes that he's going to just destroy people because when he plays
Well, the
well,
cool thing is too, Raja's been in on my stream like every day, and I'm pretty much just gonna do a ton of limited because
Sure.
I feel like that's what a lot of people want to watch in the first couple weeks anyway, and that's what I'm most excited to play. So if he's in on the stream, he'll get 5 hours a day from me as well, just
oh yeah,
playing together, and that was actually honestly part of the reason we both did really well at the standard event too. Is like I was debating between that blue black deck and then Raja's deck, obviously the Bant deck that he 7-1'd in standard with and almost 8-0'd if he didn't draw like garbage in the first match or whatever. But yeah, I mean playing with Raja is always a good time, man. That dude is super super good.
oh yeah. No, I mean I agree wholeheartedly. I think he carried us to what top 8 of a Grand
Yeah,
Prix,
fifth,
basically, just
fifth,
unbelievable record the whole weekend.
place.
I will
Fifth
say
place.
though, one thing that really scares me with having Raja in our limited seat is he is notoriously unlucky. So I think he's gonna get a really garbage pool,
That's fair.
and I think that's like a given. Like
That's fair.
every pre-release I've gone to a lot of pre-releases with Raja, and every time it's like, dude, you didn't even get a rare. How did none of your packs even have rares in them? What is this? Loses the die roll. It's bad. Very unlucky. Although, I guess maybe he's just been unlucky for the last like 6 years. So this could be the one year we just
Now
get
it's
all
the
of it.
time, man. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
time to just open the bomb pool.
This
We
is
did
gonna.
kind of high roll the one GP we went to. He just got
That
the
was,
fucking
I mean,
back
yeah, our day two pool was good. I remember our day two, like
roll.
all
Our
of
day
us
one
had.
pool was good too. We just
Yeah,
had really good pools.
yeah. You had the bad deck day two, right? Or maybe both days.
No,
You
no,
definitely had the bad
no.
deck day two, right? Or no?
Day one, I had the nuts. Day one, we opened like 12 rare merfolks in our pool.
Oh
And I
yeah,
hit all of them.
yeah, you
Yeah.
played the. I remember that. Okay.
And my day one deck was unbelievable. I
Didn't we
lost
have
one
climb?
game.
Didn't we have Hadana's climb or whatever in our deck too, or something?
I don't remember if I had climb or not. I just know that I
Okay.
had like 6 rare merfolks, and it was just completely absurd. The deck was
Yeah.
broken.
Oh, was
And
this
then I remember
rivals?
Raja had Tetsamok, I think, in
Yeah,
day one.
and you had a garbage deck day one, and then day two I
Yep.
got the garbage deck, and you guys just both got bombs. Or,
Yep.
Oh.
like decks with bombs, and it was
This is
awesome.
rivals.
It was, yeah,
Rivals
and
was fun, yep.
I had Tender Shoot Dryad and
Oh, buddy.
Zapalta. I had Zapalta. I had some good ramp, very good removal. Yeah, deck was
It was the tender shoot though. It was just
Yeah.
That was just the big memory of the tournament. Is just looking over at Dykeman saying "trigger to tender shoot."
Yeah, every keep trigger. Oh, dude, Alan, you'll love this, dude. We, I watched a buddy die to tender shoot in mono green in historic this past weekend, and as soon as our opponent resolved the tender shoot, I was like, oh, we're dead. We are so dead. We might as well just pack them up, man. We're playing mono white, and they slam a tender shoot. The best thing we can.
Yeah, if you don't kill it the turn they play it, that's game. That's
my god.
Over.
We put it. He threw it under a Dave or the Cathar or whatever, and then they just killed it later and got back the tender shoot, and it's just like, oh my god, this is over,
GG's.
man.
Yeah, GG's.
Yeah, that is brutal.
It was pretty funny, I'll tell you.
Tender shoot. For those who are listening, it was a good limited card.
It was. It was a very good limited card.
Yo, I pack one pick one it all the time on those arena cubes. Love that card.
Yeah. I would assume that card got a 5.0 rating in that format because, dear God, that card was insane.
Either that or LSV was too busy to rate it. That's the only reason it wouldn't get a 5.0.
In fairness, it was in a format with Tetsumak, and Tetsumak was definitely better. So
that's fair.
Oh, is that the Black Dragon?
It was the Black Dinosaur, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did a pre-release, and I went like 8-0 without ever losing a game. Like, it was insane. Like,
Tetsumak was so not okay. That card was so broken.
The card was busted, bro. I remember opening that. I was like, oh, this looks good. I guess I'm in black. Let's go.
But yeah, back to the NRG. I'm supposed to play Legacy right now.
You don't want that.
Well,
you don't want none.
We're trying to convince Kyle to let me play Stormherald Reanimator in Modern. So
my God.
All right, well, you're gonna be. You don't want to play Legacy.
I'll bet on this. Make it happen.
Look,
Kyle's not letting you do this.
There ain't no way in hell Kyle's gonna let him do this.
We're working on it. We don't have like a set record I have to get to in leagues, but 9-1's a good start. So I think if I can get to like 24-1, maybe.
All right, that's fine. If you go 24-1, yeah, that's fine. I'll DM Kyle myself and say, look, you gotta let him do this, man.
All right,
it's Storm Herald. It's Storm Herald's time.
It's probably for the best because he's probably the best Legacy player in your team anyway.
Wow, shots fired.
I was about to say, I don't think that's accurate. I was expecting Alan would play Legacy for sure.
Oh, that was a little easy. You don't want.
We used to have like an actual problem in Michigan where there wasn't very many good Legacy players. There was like a little scene at BC Comics, and everybody wanted Mac Doyle on their team because Mac Doyle's gas.
Yep.
But there wasn't enough good Legacy players in the state to go around, and there's a lot of good Modern, a lot of good Standard players. So like, we'd go to these team tournaments, and Michigan would never do well in them because we never had a Legacy seat.
Yep.
For a long time, I remember that. So I was like, all right, well, F it, I'm gonna learn Legacy and just be the Legacy player on the teams because we need one. And ever since I did that, the state has done a lot better at tournaments with the involved Legacy. And I think I actually have, I definitely top-aided one SEG that was Legacy. I think it was only one, though.
Yeah, you did well in a class. I remember you doing well in a classic with.
Sure, you won. Didn't you win a classic?
Yeah,
I've also won a. Yeah, I have won a classic.
I remember that.
Top-aided I don't know. Regardless, I played a lot of Legacy.
The point is, you can play some Legacy. You have learned the format, which is key for these team events.
I will say, I've been playing a lot of Legacy the last couple days, and I tend to take I don't want to play the best deck, I want to beat the best deck approach, which isn't great normally, but it's just kind of how I do things. And this best deck in Legacy right now is really good, so it is hard.
Yeah.
It's tough. That deck
what's the best deck?
Blue-Red Delver right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong.
That deck is...
Yeah.
Just... I wish it wasn't the best deck, man, but it is really good.
To be fair,
it's super strong.
Isn't Blue-Red Delver always the best deck?
So, you say that, but I also made a career out of beating the crap out of Delver.
That's true.
When I played Legacy, and I always did, and I've been trying to beat this deck, and I am struggling. The deck is really good.
Are you still on your Stoneblade?
I've tried a bunch of things.
Okay.
Death and Taxes does beat it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like the only deck in the format I found that consistently beats this deck.
I
And
was about to, yeah, I know you as well as Brian Koval, right? You guys like innovated on the Bant Snow deck and
yep,
added life from the loam and stuff. How's that deck against blue red? Not good enough?
it's close.
Close.
Um,
Which is not really where you want to be. You want
yeah, if I'm
you
gonna
want
play
convincing.
exactly, like if I'm gonna play a deck that isn't as good against the rest of the field, then I want to be favored in that matchup. And
Yep.
I feel like even with everything I put into it, I'm not favored.
Yep.
And the real problem is like Uro is supposed to be this like just go over the top of you win situation where like yeah maybe they kill it the first time, but a blue red deck shouldn't be very good at answering Uro, right? They can kill it the first time or whatever. But it turns out,
Holy Heat is one heck of a magic card.
yeah, one, it turns out they have Unholy Heat, so they can kill it the first time anyway, or the second time.
Yep.
Two, post board they have like 50
Surge.
Pyroblasts now. Like
Yep.
everyone has like 4 Pyroblasts and 4 Red Elemental Blasts in their sideboard, so Uro just never resolves or does anything.
And they can
And-
surgical it too, right?
Exactly, and when they don't have that, they have the Surgical, so it's
Yep.
like it's not the go over the top card you want it to be. And if that's like not the trump, then like why are you playing Bant to begin with? Like,
Yep.
I don't know. There was just I've tried a lot. I actually think I came up with some good innovations to the Bant deck, and it still just wasn't quite good enough. So I actually tried playing Growth Spiral. Everyone's playing Ice Fang Codal, which I think is unplayable.
That makes sense.
And I tried playing Growth Spiral, and I actually thought Growth Spiral was really good.
Be
But-
fair, I think Bant's unplayable, but that's me.
I mean, it kind of is. It's sad. If they could, if they would just do the right thing and unban Oko, my deck would be really good again. But
Yo, if they
Um,
unban Oko, I would play my Bant Delver deck I was playing. That deck was awesome.
I'm all over the unbanning of Oko so I can play my Bant pile because it feels so medium right now.
oh, the Bant pile's just not good. It makes me
It's just
sad.
not.
I worked on it. I worked on it, but there's I've got a deck in Legacy. I have one that is a pretty good front runner right now. I got some secret tech. I'm not gonna divulge it on the cast because there's a good
Mhm.
chance I play this, so I don't want to tease you guys too much with it. But
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, I don't know. I've got a deck I like.
That's cool,
But-
man.
I'm locked on my
hopefully-
deck for the event, so
And I will say, even like liking this deck, I think I'm like 52% against Delver, so
and that's more than being under 50%. So
that's an edge. We'll take it.
we'll take that. Any edge matters. Yeah, I'm playing. I ain't afraid to say I'm playing the Legacy seat for our team. So that's
Okay.
why you don't want to play Legacy. You don't want me to do that to you, man. You
That's
know,
fair. I understand that.
I
Well, I'm
was
gonna
looking
talk
out
about
for
it anyway.
you.
We agree.
I was looking out for you.
Yeah, he's playing Storm Herald, so
Oh,
he'll be playing
we're good.
against me.
Oh, good lord.
Hopefully, I'll have Solitude in my deck.
I was gonna say, if you have Solitude, I can't win. If you don't draw
Yeah,
Solitude, you're
if
dead.
I'm playing,
Actual
if I'm
dead.
playing the good old elementals, you might be in for a routing, but we'll see
It's
if I
li-
actually play
It's
elementals.
literally Solitude or you lose. I'm telling you that right now. I played against the deck a few times online, and it's like not close either way.
Is Endurance not good against you? I have those too.
No, you don't.
Endurance
You cut
Can
him.
be good.
Well, yeah, I'll have them back at
No,
the next
because you're
event.
worried
That
about
was-
Zach. You gotta
no,
make sure he's
no,
playing
no,
4 in the
but
main.
I made some. The Veil of Summers I just think were kind of nonsense. I
love
never
that
boarded
card.
them in one time, and I don't know. I guess there would have been matchups where I would have used them. I did actually. I'm lying. I did board them in a couple times,
Mhm.
but they just never were great. So I feel like my board was not 100% what it should have been for that event, but it ended up working out fine. I still did well in Modern. A 5-3 is like fine, and
Yeah.
it is what it is. But
I will say.
no, Endurance and Solitude are actually the deck's two biggest problems.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
But I'm
Makes
working on
sense.
some tech. I'm working on some
Yeah.
tech for them.
To be fair, I
I think
also
I
have
got it.
Rest in Peace, Alan, so that one might be okay against you too.
That one doesn't beat the sideboard plane, so that's fine.
Okay,
but,
that's fair.
but Endurance and Solitude are a problem. Although I will
I mean,
say, I think we
Fury
found some tech.
Fury seems pretty good against your sideboard plan too, right? If you're on the Witch plan.
Not really. It's fine.
Okay.
Listen, hear me out. I found the tech. I'm playing some Nyxes. That's a throwback. I bet you don't even know what that card does.
Nyx, yeah, I forget what that one does.
Is it
Yeah.
wait? In Knicks, is that the? Are you talking about Starfield of the Knicks?
No. He
Oh.
means Knicks.
Oh,
Actual
actual
Knicks.
Knicks. Oh no,
All
I
right,
have no
I gotta
idea.
I gotta look this up. Knicks.
Yeah.
MTG.
We're going deep. I
Is
think
it
this
just
is
called
the way.
NYX?
Wait,
Yeah.
counter target spell if no mana was spent
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, it didn't
Okay.
work. It didn't work. I tried.
for 1 blue. For 1
Yep.
blue.
Game. Nice endurance.
Yeah.
Kind of
Counter.
cool.
Yeah, and no Cavern of Souls for you, my friend.
Well,
'cause you didn't come in on this.
I have a Teferi in play, so you can't nix me. So
Well,
I won the die roll and played
Yeah.
Teferi on turn 2. So
all right. If that happened, I would be in trouble. But you
no,
gotta
I
have a
hear you.
perfect
Though. That's a good plan. That's a good plan. I like it. It's pretty
No,
cool.
I actually think the Knicks is a horrible plan, but we'll
That's
figure it out.
That's
We'll
fair.
figure it out.
No,
That's
he
all
leaks,
plan,
he
I
leaks onto
suppose.
his tech. He's got to shoot it down so nobody takes it up.
Look, the Knicks plan could be real, but it's probably not. But we're working on it. I'm gonna find a card that's good against these elementals, and when I do, you're in for it.
That's
He is
fair. I'm
in-
not even sure if I'll play elementals though. To be honest, I need to test this Death Shadow, this Stress Down Shadow deck. I think.
I've actually been testing it a lot this week. The deck is very good.
Yeah.
The deck is
Yeah.
good.
Very, very good.
I know it's really good. It's the only deck that has consistently beaten me on elementals. I haven't beaten that deck literally one time. I've lost to.
I'm
That is
undefeated.
how I feel. That is how I feel about it with blue white. And
Yeah.
when I'm playing blue white, I like I am mostly better than my opponent, so I kind of beat everything. But like good players can beat me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And sometimes you have bad matches, whatever. I'm not like trying to brag about this, but like I have a very positive record with blue white. I'll say that, and I am also very negative against this deck. And people keep telling me that blue white should be favored against shadow because like Solid Teal kills shadow, but it's like. It's not really a shadow deck. Like, it just has shadow in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their cards are just good, man. And like, if you
Yep.
play against a good player, like, it's just rough. It's just
Well,
rough.
so there's this thing going on, which I think is actually the same issue you have with elementals, where Thoughtseize is already a good card, right?
Yep.
Just in Magic, Thoughtseize is a really good card.
Yep.
I don't think
Insanely
anyone would
good.
argue that.
It's
Yeah,
an
it's a
insane
really
card.
good card. But historically, one of its problems is it, at its heart, it's a 1-for-1 card. Like Thoughtseize is just trying to trade 1-for-1. So if you aren't pairing it with a really quick clock, it's really easy to get outground if you're not the grindiest Thoughtseize deck, because the grindier your deck is, the worse Thoughtseize gets, and then you start top decking it late, and it starts losing to counter spells. So
Yeah.
you need to play it in a really fast deck for it to be at its maximum. Otherwise it gets ground out. But this deck is really fast, so it gets to play Thoughtseize in a deck that is fast. And then on top of that, Modern's in a place right now where everyone's playing pitch spells. So there's pitch spells everywhere. So like and there's this busted mulligan rule. So there's a lot of people on 6s playing pitch spells. And so the Thoughtseize is just way more brutal than it normally is, and I think that is really doing it. Like when you play against a deck and they Thoughtseize you, you just feel like you lose on the spot. Like, and Ragamon's another ridiculous card. Like Ragamon plus Thoughtseize is also really unfair.
And with all this mid-range arms race nonsense going on, Dress Down just looks better and better every single week almost. It's like, people
That's
just
all
keep,
true. Yep.
Yeah.
And
That was
Lurist-
that was the card I couldn't beat. Like, I just cannot beat the dress. Like, if they Thoughtseize my Teferi and then set up the Lurist Dress Down, I can't win. I can't do anything.
Yep.
So it was just, that's part of the reason I was playing Veils was for that deck specifically, just so I could try and hose the hand hate spells and actually like establish my game plan. But yeah, if you miss a beat against that deck, like if they Thoughtseize you and then you just like rip a couple lands, you're just so dead. You're just so dead against that deck.
Yep, and that has been my thing. And the other thing too is like, I mean, it feels kind of played out at this point because every deck has it, but Lurrus is still like the best card ever printed. I don't think that's changed. Even with the companion change, like Lurrus is just ridiculous. It's just such an absurdly good card.
Very broken card, yeah.
And I don't know, like I've gotten into this argument on Twitter. I've said it with a few people. Companions would be totally fine if they printed a bunch of them, or if they banned all of them. But the spot where it's at right now, it's like, well, Lurrus is like, and I think it's easy to call it the best card ever printed right now, because it gets this weird thing where it's just like it's always in your opening hand, and it's always you always have an 8th card.
Yep.
It just has, and like no other decks get to play this, and like, well, that's not true. So other decks do get to play it, but all the other companions stink. None of them are nearly as good as Lurrus. It's not even close. Luris is miles better than all the other
Yeah,
ones.
Luris, if it resolves, is
Hmm.
typically always a 2-for-1
Yep.
immediately.
Well, and even past that, like it's cheap, like its requirement. Like Yorion could arguably be better than Luris, but its requirement is so much worse than Luris's.
Yep.
Like playing 80 cards is way worse than just playing with cheap permanents.
Yep.
Like you want cheap permanents anyway.
Yep. That was
Uh,
another thing we didn't bring up when we were talking about the Storm Herald deck. Some of the decks that can interact with you are playing 80 cards, so they're less likely to hit their interaction anyway.
exactly, and that's a really big deal for it too.
Hmm.
So
Especially game one in the blind with an 80 card
Oh,
deck.
yeah,
yeah.
They ain't gonna know what hit them when you go Storms Herald them for like a
Yeah.
million on turn 2 or 3.
well, I mean, all right, hear me out. Like, I'm not saying this is right, but I do have a pretty big reputation as playing slow decks. Like, people know Zach, Blue White
This is
Control,
true.
slow decks. If you're playing against me, you're probably like, I can keep a six lander that has like a counter spell.
Uh-huh.
No, Storm Herald, you're dead on turn three. Nice hand.
Nice
Done.
hand, noob.
Uh, but yeah, so anyway, the Shadow deck is really good. Luris is broken, and like if they printed more companions, I think Luris would be fine. Like it's a reasonable card if there's other companions that are about its power level, but because there just aren't, just like getting to play Luris is a huge advantage, and it also gets to play Expressive Iteration, which is the other big deal. Like Expressive Iteration, I think is also a top five card in Modern. So
Oh,
you get
easily. It's potentially a top 5 card like in Magic right now. Like the card's just insane everywhere. Such a
yeah,
good card.
yeah. I actually think there's this debate going on in Legacy, what card should be banned. I think if they're going to ban a card in Legacy, it should be Expressive Iteration.
I
Sure.
agree.
I
But
agree with you.
Force
um,
them not to play that third color if they want to do some stuff like that.
yeah, well, I think if you're going to ban any card in Legacy, it should probably be Brainstorm. But that's never going to happen. So given that being the case, it should be Expressive
Yeah,
Iteration.
Brainstorm is
Um,
probably on the never ban list.
yeah, probably. But regardless, yeah, Expressive Iteration is really good. And one of the reasons we liked our standard deck so much was that you had cheap spells to Expressive Iteration into. Like if you look at there was Expressive Iteration had like 32 copies in the top 8 of the SCG. Like every deck was playing, or it wasn't 32. There's a lot of copies of it basically.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not, that card's just insane.
Hmm.
But you do need to build around it. You can't just like put it in an expensive deck, and you
Right.
need cheap spells to cast with it. But it's
Right.
like, oh, like
The
my lowest
key
deck
the key
already
that
has
a
that
lot
cheap
of people
spells.
don't understand about expressive iteration is like after turn like 3 or 4, hitting a land is no longer really a 2-for-1 with that card because lands at that point you're just flooding. So
Yeah,
like you're saying, you need its spells, which is why like in historic it's so sick because you can like play it once you have 3 lands in Phoenix and just hit an opt or whatever or a
yep.
consider, and it turns into a 2-for-1 even when you don't want lands. But if you're hitting lands past like turn 5, it's really just a 1-for-1 at that point because the lands aren't actually that useful.
Well, but
And I feel like
that's
a lot of people don't understand that with that card.
no, and you're right, and that's what makes it so broken because it's what you just said, but also it is good at finding lands. So
It
early
is.
in the game when you need lands, it's the perfect things that helps you
Yep.
find them. And late game when you need spells, it's insane because it's 2 mana to find two spells.
Yep. Basically a
Um,
2-mana draw 2.
Hmm.
exactly, but you do need, like I said, you do need to build around it. But like, I don't know, it turns out like one of the best things you can play with it is a 0 mana cantrip that you can just play always. It's like, oh wait, did I want to play Mishra's Bobble in my Luris deck? Oh yeah. Oh wait, is it really good with
It's
Express
like, yeah,
Iteration?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's
So
some hard
yeah.
deck building right there.
I'm not convinced. So in the Shadow deck, I'm not convinced Shadow's right. I think there's a chance it is. I do know that Luris, Expressive Iteration, Ragavan, Dragon's Rage Channeler, all of that is good, very good, and probably correct to play. But I've seen some lists with Snapcaster Mages. I've seen some lists with Shadows. I think there's other things you could try. I haven't really tried anything else, but
Sure,
like,
yeah.
I'm not sure Shadow's right. I'm not sure Snapcaster Mage is right. I'm not sure any of the other stuff is right. But I know that core is so strong that it's just always going to be a good deck. Um, and Dresstown's actually impressed me. Dresstown's good.
Gut sounds so good in Modern, specifically
Yep.
right now
Hmm.
Yep.
when everyone's playing these 4-color soup decks and like you alluded to earlier, the mid-range arms race that we're kind of seeing right now, it just Dress Down just looks better and better as people continue to just try and outgrind each other with mid-range cards. So
Yep, I actually won a game. I was testing the Shadow deck. I won a game against Etron where they Chalice on 0, Chalice on 1, which is really good against Lurrus decks specifically. It's really
Yeah.
tough to beat. And then I put Lurrus in my hand, and they thought not seared me. And I was like, oh, well, you think like this is
You
gonna
would
be,
think you're dead.
yeah, but no. Respond to thought not seared with dress down. It goes away. Um, and get
And
to
then later, when you kill it, you still get to draw a
yeah, you
card
still get to
too.
draw your card. So like I countered it for no man or no card parity basically. But more than that, I got to cast dress down every turn with Lurrus in my end
Yep.
step. So
So
their
you
creatures
got to
never did
build up
anything.
cards.
Yeah, but like I'm locked out, but I just got to keep drawing until I hit 2 drops, and then I eventually won with the Croxos. So it was like, I don't know, it's a really absurd card with Lurrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis
Um,
is
and it,
Really
Lewis is
nuts.
quite the guard.
yeah, and it does work with Shadow. Um, I think there's a lot being made of this like Shadow is just too bad against Solitude to actually play Shadow in Modern right now, and I don't think that's true.
It even
But
makes sense because the deck is like so good against Solitude because Solitude's a creature ETB anyway. So like,
yeah, so like
I
dress
don't
down
think
beats
people
it,
quite.
Thoughtseize
Yeah,
beats
I
it.
don't think people quite understand
Yeah, it is.
understand the matchup. You have to like play the matchup before.
Yeah,
Yeah, that just isn't how it works at
I
all.
think
I've
the
had
issue.
Solitude against their Death Shadow multiple times, and my Solitude can't get an ETB trigger because I get buried by a
yeah.
dress down.
I think
And
the
you like go for it, Larry. Sorry.
no, I was saying I think the big issue is people are comparing it to how the Legacy Shadow was with swords, and they're
Mhm.
forgetting about that enter the battlefield is very relevant when you have dress down in your deck.
Yep. And so I think I mean that's basically the point is like people are saying that Shadow's bad in the deck because of Solitude, and that's just not true. I don't think. I think it's pretty easy to play around Solitude.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make an argument that Shadow's bad in the deck, I'd buy it, but it's because there's no Street Wraith. So the Shadows are like a really slow 1 mana threat, which the deck doesn't need because you have Lurrus, which is already like an absurd slow threat that you have every game no matter what. And Croxo, which is also kind of the same thing. So it's like Shadow's good in the deck, and it's not bad because of Solitude, but you're not built to maximize Shadow because you don't get the Street Wraith, which is kind of important for it. And it's a little slow in your Ragavan DRC deck, so like I don't know. I'm just not convinced that Shadow is the right card, but the rest of the core is definitely just like tier 1. So I think that's a shell worth exploring. I'll say
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I think the Shadow decks are really good right now. Very and back to your saying about though Solitude being like so super good against Shadow. I think it's good against inexperienced Shadow players. That's gonna
That's
let
Maybe.
that be a thing, and that might be where the people that are saying that probably has a very testing sample, and where they're getting like these false illusions, or I guess you could call it, like giving this false hope that this match again they're going to be very discouraged when they go to a legit event and they play against some very good Shadow players that don't let that Solitude plan work as well as they thought it did.
Sure. And
Yeah, and you know what's really funny? I'm pretty sure thinking about it, I actually had a game where my opponent had 2 shadows, and I solituded one, and then the other one died, and then they just lurised it back the following turn. So yeah, sure, I'll lose 2 shadows, luris it back to play after I shocked myself.
sure.
Like it didn't even end up being a 2-for-1. Like
Yep.
even through the dress, like even with no dress down, still.
Mm-hmm.
But in fairness too, that's another point for why Shadow's a little awkward in the deck. Is it is not actually very good with Lurrus.
Sure,
It's come
the
up.
life
It's
link.
come up where it's because Lurrus has lifelink. It's like
Hmm.
this is weird. Like, do I leave this back to block? Can I attack with Lurrus? Can I leave Lurrus back to block? Like, that is definite dis-synergy, and that one matters.
Yeah,
It's kind of gone the other way too. I don't know. That one's tough to figure out. I'm not gonna say it's just like a straight negative because I've also had games with the deck where like you're shocking and thought seizing aggressively just to
very
get down.
aggressively. Yep.
Yeah, and then they kill your shadow, and you're like, well, now I kind of wish I wasn't at like 5 because I could die to like 2 bolts here. All right, I'll get Lurrus and
Just
start
lure
getting
us
to
into
life.
play. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it does kind of go both ways, but it's still a little like I don't know. I just am not super happy with Shadow, and I think that's like I'm seeing it now too. There's lists out there with Snapcaster. Like people are exploring other ways to build this deck, and I think at some point we'll figure it out. And when like whatever weekend we figure it out, the deck is going to be the best deck that weekend. Like whatever that other threat or needs to be or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It could be Shadow. Like Shadow could be it because Shadow and Dress Down does work pretty well
Yeah,
together.
it works super well together. Obviously, it can randomly combo kill people on like what turn 4, turn 3, even maybe. I don't know if you can
Yeah,
get your life that
you
low, but
can.
yeah, you can. You can fetch shock Thoughtseize and then fetch shock Shadow, and then dress down 26 on turn 3,
Three. You
right?
can do it, and it like the deck does have those draws. I got a turn 3 kill with the deck, so it is
Okay.
possible. But it's not super likely.
No, of course,
You
yeah,
need specifically 2 fetches and a Thoughtseize to get down to
yeah,
12.
and then double Shadow and then dress down. So it's yeah,
You
really
don't
rare.
need double Shadow. You can do
Oh,
it on
don't you?
one Shadow. You need a
Oh, okay.
Ragavan. The way I did it was turn 1 Ragavan,
Oh, sure.
turn 2 Thoughtseize plus Shadow, turn 3 Dress
Okay.
Down.
Yep.
Um, and that was enough to kill. But the point is like the deck has these draws, but like it's not necessary. It's not 100% clear that you need them, and
Mm.
I don't know. I wish there was just I don't know. We need to find one more threat. Like if there was a better non-graveyard using threat, I think the deck would be better because the deck is kind of soft to graveyard hate, which is unfortunate. And I don't know if Shadow's the answer, but there's a lot of stuff that uses the graveyard: DRC, Croxa,
Yeah.
Snapcaster, Luris. Like
Yeah, deck
the
lives in the
only threat
graveyard.
Yeah, the only threat that's not really using the graveyard is Ragavan right now, so it's like it would be cool.
Dark Confidant could be kind of cool.
Ooh, I don't hate Dark Confidant. That's actually interesting.
Yeah,
I don't feel
I
that.
liked I liked Dark Confidant and Red Black when I was playing Red Black. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't hate that actually. That's worth trying. Dothy Voidwalker is actually another interesting one.
Dauthi would be cool too. Yeah, Dauthi might be a little awkward with the mana. Trying to cast like Iteration and Dauthi could be weird. I don't know.
It could be awkward.
I have
It's
no
very.
idea.
It definitely sounds awkward, but it's doable in the deck.
It's definitely doable. It might make things awkward sometimes, but I have
You,
no idea. I haven't played the Grixis
Do
version.
you just
yeah, I'm
increase
not
your
sure.
fetch
You do
count?
want to shock though.
I don't know if you can increase your
You
fetch
might.
count at all.
You might. I have no idea. Yeah, but
I mean, the
both
deck's
those
already
cards are
playing.
definitely good options.
Are they already
The deck's
playing
already playing like
12?
a. I think it's 11 right now,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I guess you're going up
um,
to 12 if you want to play Voidwalker.
yeah, I think
I
there's a
think
lot of
that's
stuff here
fine.
worth exploring.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
I like Bob a lot. I think Bob's a sweet card. Obviously, it's been played many times, but I think in this deck particular, like I watched Steven play the Black Grid last time we did a team tournament at that Iowa event. He was playing that
Yeah,
in his
it was very
75.
good.
Yeah.
It was very good in Iowa, and it was very good. The team event I played with Connor and Allie as well.
Mhm.
I was never sad about it, and I mean, it just turns out that Dark Confidant in a Luris deck is good.
Yeah, no, I buy that.
What a,
I've
what
also
a
played that deck
ride.
a lot. I played that deck a lot, but I played it with the Mardu version, and
Yeah,
I do kind of wish I had Prismatic Ending. That card is just unbelievably good,
yeah,
but
ending is insane, man. I have no idea why so many elementals lists keep playing like 2 bolts and 2 endings. I've just never understood why they don't play 4 endings before starting to add lightning bolts to the deck. Like,
um, I think people are. So when I tested the Elementals deck, I had a hard time casting Fury. Like you can hard cast it, but it's really hard to pitch Fury.
oh sure,
So I did feel like the deck wanted more red cards, but I agree with you. Like Prismatic Ending is not the card I wanted to cut.
right? Well, also people were cutting Flamekin Harbingers for bolts too, which I've never moved off the 2 Harbingers. The 2 Harbingers are fine. Um, I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of the moving to lightning bolts, especially over prismatic ending specifically. It just makes me sick. Ending is just
Yeah,
so much better of
and
a
then
card, man.
the list
Yeah.
that I played, they cut an ending and a Teferi, and I was like,
Yeah, I
man,
mean, in this current modern format, that doesn't make any sense either. Teferi is just so good. Like 3-minute Teferi is
Yeah.
so huge in this format, man. And like
Fairies is one of the best cards in
the thing about the thing about elementals is like Utopia Sprawl into Teferi is just like always your best draw in like almost every matchup. You just want to play turn 2 Teferi into turn 3 Reef with Ephemerate up. Like
Yep.
that's the nut draw. That is the nut draw in elementals. Like every time, like that's just what you hope to have. So many decks struggle to beat that. Um, but yeah, so cutting a Teferi in a world of uh, footfalls and rhinos and all that doesn't seem particularly good to me
nope.
either.
No, I agree with you. The other thing that's going on right now in Modern that we've talked about a lot of decks, but we haven't really touched on this is Blue White is like dominant, and it's been a long time since Control was this good, and it's like it's in such a weird spot now where I've always had this feeling with Blue White where just Control X in general, as they've made threats better and reactive spells worse, and Magic in general, uh, Control decks really wanted to not play mirrors because you had to be so reactive that it made the mirrors really bad. So like Control always, I always have felt like Control gets better as it gets worse at the same time. And then like when Control looks like the best deck in the format, it's less good to play because it's really targetable. Just because you have to line up everything perfectly, which is doable, but like if someone knows you have to do that, it's pretty easy to hate that out by playing, especially in a format as big as Modern when they have decks have access to crazy stuff that just completely hoses you. Um, and like sometimes you'll just like get boiled or choked or thrun. Like there's just all these cards, and it seems like they should really hate blue white out, but no one's really effectively hating it right now. And like I'm testing online, I'm still playing it, and I'm playing against cards like this now. Like people are playing them, and they just don't really beat blue white anymore. And now it's like the only way people are really beating blue white is by this mid range race. Like the one deck you don't really want to see with blue white is like either the Cavern of Souls Elemental or like the four color Yorion deck. So it's a weird spot, and the results recently have just been all of these elemental decks in blue white. That's it, and it's putting blue white in a weird spot where, like, I'm actually noticing now. This still blows my mind that blue white was built to be a Chalice of the Void deck, and Chalice is one of the reasons it's dominant in the format. But it's not even main decking Chalice of the Void anymore. None of the lists are even main decking it. But they're also not playing one mana spells, which is just blowing my mind. Like, how are we in a spot in Modern where Blue White has cut Chalice of the Void from its deck and is still just not playing one mana spells? What is happening?
It's because you have Prismatic Ending, which is a one mana spell while also not being one, and then you obviously have Solitude, which is just a free spell.
Yes, so all of that is true, but it's, I don't know. In my mind, something has gone wrong where, like, Modern's still a really efficient, powerful format. And even though we're in this mid-range arms race right now, like, just having played the blue-white deck, you can get tempoed out, I promise you. Like, if people are playing a deck with a lot of one-mana spells, like this Shadow deck is, it's really easy for them to take 3 or 4 times as many game actions as you.
Yep.
And now that you don't have the free out button of just, oh, well, you know, Chalice on 1, like, okay, yeah, maybe you have all these one-mana spells, but they all get countered, so good game.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have that anymore, so it's like, I don't understand why blue-white has it, like, if you're gonna make this like I'm not even gonna play Chalice of the Void anymore, how has the deck not been rebuilt to actually include one mana spells? Like you could just play like I know Path to Exile is kind of bad, but like you could just play some number Path to Exile. Like you could just do that and be better against some of the decks. I guess Path's actually just not that good of a card.
Path seems just
it's not that good. All right,
awful in this.
All right, well we'll move Path.
Okay.
But like Consider's a card. Like you could play some Considers, and that would be pretty reasonable. I don't know. It just strikes me like we're still playing Modern. Like this is still the format of 0 and 1 mana spells. Like you can play some of them. I don't know. Get them in there.
Get them in. That's fair.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm in a weird spot right now where like I believe that all these grindy decks are good, but I don't know how good, and I don't know if I want to be in that arms race. So I don't know. Modern's in a weird spot to me.
Yeah.
With those.
Yeah, Modern it's an interesting beast to say the least. Well, if you do play the Modern seat, I know what I hope you'll be playing.
Storm Herald.
Oh yeah, Storm Herald.
I mean, that's what everybody should hope you're playing.
And then I'm gonna go up to
awesome.
him. You know, he's gonna do well with. I'm gonna go up and be like, "You net decker," and just walk away.
This is an original Zach creation, my own brain. I will also look. I'm not going to confirm or deny it if my TCG account right now has a bunch of borderless Storm Heralds and borderless Unmarked Graves and borderless. But you know, I probably
believe it if it did.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, Zach, before we put a bow on this interview, I want to ask you. I know you we had SCG Con and stuff. Over the weekend, we had Jacob Ball, Tariq Patel, and them doing well in the Nationals of Flesh and Blood. When are you going to jump on the boat too, my friend?
So, I want to get into Flesh and Blood. It's been a rough month because it was just this month where I decided, okay, I want to get into this game. But also, this is like the first month Magic tournaments have been back, so I've kind
Yeah.
of been focused on them. So it's been awkward from that. But I will say, I'm working at RW now, and I had a call with Flesh and Blood Nationals today to set up events for RW going forward. So RW is going to
Cool.
have Flesh and Blood events.
And I'll be there for him because for the
Yep.
next season, I'm gonna be all in on those and just doing all of them in the state and
Yeah, so
maybe Illinois and stuff too.
sure. So I was actually talking to the head of organized play for Flesh and Blood today, and
Yep.
I'm psyched, dude. I want to jump in. So
Well, when you're
um,
ready, hit me up. I'll make the trip out to RIW and jam some games.
let's do it, dude. The studio's ready. We're ready to go.
Um,
We've been taking care. It's been a really busy
Mm-hmm.
last month, and it's gonna be really busy until Christmas is over because
We'll plan for
RW is a
January.
retail store.
Yeah, we'll
But
plan
yeah, January you can bet there's gonna be a lot of content coming.
for January is
Flesh
when
and
I get
Blood.
my slow season too. So I'll make the drive out to RIW. We'll jam some Flesh and Blood. We'll drag Dewey out. It'll be a good
Now,
time.
actually, hold on a second. I got
You
this
might be able to
right-
convince me.
I thought he was about to flex.
Well,
What is it?
I thought.
he's so swole now that he doesn't even have to flex.
Is this
you know?
what?
It's just
Is this what it's like to be
it's just
slow?
innate.
I got this Tales of Aria first edition box.
Oh,
I have a
man,
edition
pack-
Monarch box right
You're
here,
gonna do
too.
a pack opening video, right?
It's right here. Oh, yeah, I got these two boxes. I want to open them. I've got a
Oh.
Monarch one and a Tales of Aria one. and they're
Oh,
both
that'll
first
be fun.
edition, And I want to get in on it. I'm actually
Yo,
pretty excited.
We could compete
So-
with the professor and do the booster box game.
I'd be down. I got a bunch of boxes, man. So I do want to do some openings. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, we should do it, man. Like
I don't
in
know-
January.
I
Yo,
don't really know what I'm opening yet.
if
but
you
I've
want-
got 'em.
let me know what you got. I'll go get a box of like a Tails as well. We could do like a whole stream where we just pack war.
I mean, I'm in. We got. You can just grab them for our W, dude. We got a bunch of boxes.
That's
We're good to go.
Yeah, send me. I have to see. Are you guys ever gonna do singles? Or are you not gonna mess with those right now? I don't know what your guys' following in MRAW is. I know Upkeep
So-
does, and they're not too far from you, but I don't know.
We aren't gonna do singles until we have actual live events.
That's fair.
Um,
Makes sense.
'Cause, yeah, it's just singles without events to play them in is not great.
You're right. You're right.
But I imagine once events happen, we'll have singles.
Yeah, I know Upkeep is like the Flesh and Blood store in the state right now by far.
Sure.
They do really well. They sell singles and stuff, obviously because they run events on the regular.
Yeah.
If RAW goes, more stores that are actually through the gem account, which that's the big draw is the gem account. I don't know if you know how the gem account works. It's essentially what the
Yeah.
Planeswalker points should have been, but they're doing it a little bit better. Which
Yep.
kudos for them. A lot of people online are comparing it a little too much to my liking, but I get it's
Sure.
a natural thing to do.
Yeah, I
Um,
actually set up our gem account today, so I do know what it is.
Let's go. I am.
Yep, set it up.
Yep, I have a gem ID. I think I got my most points when I went to Vegas a couple months ago.
Sure.
Talk about a super fun event. Like, man, that was ran so well. I was very shocked.
believe
I was like, man, Channel Fireball, why didn't you run events like this for Magic? Like if you,
Yeah.
I was like, your Magic events always was ran so poorly, but you do this game and you're like, a breath of fresh air. Maybe it's because LSS does their things differently than Magic does. I don't know.
Man, I really want to crack this. I don't even know what's in it, but it's
Oh,
a sealed box of stuff, dude. Like, I kind of want to get cracking.
That's fine.
Save it for January. I'll come out. I'll drag Steven too. We'll all sit around, do some Flesh and Blood pack opening. We'll have a good old time.
All right, I'm in. There's one that just went out of print. I bought one of too. Crucible, I think.
Oh, Crucible.
War?
Yep,
Yep, I bought a Crucible box too. So
Crucible box is a good one too. That's a very good
Yeah,
set to
excited.
have. But yeah, we'll definitely have to do that.
yeah, hit me up. Well, I'll make it happen. I'm excited.
I'm
I got the
excited.
studio.
as
Might
well.
as well
We'll
use
make
it.
some flesh and blood happen.
Yeah, definitely. I might have to make a new YouTube channel for that actually.
Yeah, that's
I've
fair.
been doing Pokemon a lot recently. Actually, I really want to play the Pokemon TCG too. That
Very
one's kind of
cool,
random,
dude.
but
I thought about
Pokemon
playing
is
some
not-
Pokemon. It's cheap.
it's real. Like, yeah, if you want to build a competitive Pokemon deck, it's not going to cost
That's
you
the
anything,
reason.
basically.
Because going from Magic, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play Flesh and Blood. I'm like, what the fuck are these prices?
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't go to a new game. I went to the same game.
Yep. You can get like the best deck in Pokemon for like $13 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Holy moly!
It's more than that,
Yeah,
but like not much.
it's the equivalent, right? It's like
Yeah.
$13 in Magic dollars. Because I think you get like a very like good competitive tier 1 deck for like $100. Good luck doing that
Yeah.
in Modern.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got the same thing Magic does, where if you like want to bling out your deck, it gets really expensive because there's some really collectible cards in Pokemon. But like, if you want just the cheapest version of your deck, you can play like really good decks for
Reasonable.
normal money.
Listen, reasonable good Magic players don't bling their decks out.
I would disagree. I think the best Magic players in the world all try to make them look really sweet, or at least the most successful ones who are really good and have sweet foil decks. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna win a tournament, you might as well do it in style. So hopefully your cards look good, right?
Oh, I'm gonna. You know what we should do? We should bling a deck out, then get them all white bordered.
Oh my God, please no.
That would be
It
amazing.
makes me so sick to my
Steven,
stomach. I can't.
Next
I can't
time you
even-
borrow a deck from Zach Allen, we're gonna get it white bordered for him as a gift.
Oh. Oh.
I would. Nope. Nope. You're banned from Cube, dude. Now you're scaring me. Perma
What
banned
about-
from
what-
Cube.
You're
What
gonna be
about
checking
sun
my.
bleaching it for him?
What'd you say?
What about sun bleaching it for him instead?
Oh,
Cube also become banned from the Cube, dude.
Good
No
lord!
shot.
I'm gonna come to
No
do
shot.
Cube, and he's gonna be like, "I need to check your pockets for erasers."
Well, you're not gonna. You're banned from Cube. I'm sorry. So
Oh,
that's,
damn!
perma banned. No cubing ever.
No Cube Con for us. But
I
no,
think still allowed the Cube. I think, outside of his trying to draft white debacle.
Yeah.
he had a good weekend.
It was a debacle. I've learned my lesson
Yeah.
for now.
Yep.
yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on, my friend. It's always nice to just sit and have a nice conversation with you. I know you're across the pond.
The pond.
In this case, I think the pond is just the middle of Michigan. That is basically just wasteland.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
yeah. They don't count. I think East Lansing's still on fire from the partying. So
That is actually probably accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
yeah, we went crazy. I'm so mad I went to SCG Con now because I would have went there and burned some couches.
Man, I am sad I missed that game. That would have
Bro.
been a really fun game to watch.
That
Ugh.
that was the day you want to be in East Lansing. I don't know. It'll probably be pretty lit up in for the Ohio State game too.
That's
Especially if they
probably
beat
pretty
Ohio State, yo, they're gonna
Oh,
go
yeah.
nuts in that town.
That'd be nuts.
I think they can actually go to the playoff if they beat Ohio State. So
Yeah.
Honestly,
I agree.
I was listening to some analysts and I've been talking to people, which I really think that's true. If Michigan State and Michigan both win out, they both legitimately can make the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Michigan being
yeah, maybe.
Michigan beating Ohio State and being X1 and with a close loss to Michigan State, who would this is a world where Michigan State wins the Big Ten championship in this
Yeah.
discussion point. That would be enough to give Michigan into it because I think they would actually beat Cincinnati being undefeated.
They would
Because
they would
of
go
that
past
strength.
Cincinnati. Well, they would go past Cincinnati, but the problem for them is that they're not going to pass if Michigan State wins out. And this is presuming they all beat Ohio State, which I don't think is going to happen anyway. But let's say that all happened. They're
Yeah.
not passing Oklahoma, Alabama, and Georgia.
Well, I don't think
All-
Alabama's
all
getting
three of them.
past Georgia, and I think Alabama's out.
Sure, if Alabama loses to Georgia, but I think actually Alabama could beat Georgia, and then you'll just have all three of them in for sure, and then. The problem is it's just gonna be the SEC. It's pretty easy for the SEC to get two teams in. It's really hard for any other conference to get two teams in.
I do agree there. I do think if Alabama does beat Georgia, they're a lock to be in the playoffs. Both teams are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Whoever wins
think
that
if
game,
Alabama
sure.
wins, Cincinnati's going to not make it. I think the only way Cincinnati's going to make it is if Alabama loses.
Cincinnati needs a lot of losing to happen.
Yeah, because I
They
don't
do.
think Cincinnati's strength of schedule is going to hurt them again.
Yep, I agree.
And to be fair,
Well, they probably need MSU, Michigan, and Ohio State to all pick up a second loss. So what they probably need is for the other side of the Big Ten to win the Big Ten championship.
mhm.
Pretty much, unless
Yep.
obviously if Ohio State beats Michigan State, Michigan loses to Penn State, and then Michigan beat Ohio State, that could work too, I guess.
Yeah. Cincinnati's in a
it's-
very awkward spot where they just need even being undefeated, they need a lot of help.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, I mean that's what happens when you play in a MAC.
Yeah, like when you don't
all
play
the other
anybody.
schools-
That's the
I mean, all the
nature
other
of the
schools,
beast.
like, look at Michigan State. Like, we're playing in the Big Ten, and like, we play Michigan, which is a really hard game because they're another top 10 team, and then we're supposed to get a bye week when we play against Purdue. It's a really tough game,
See,
and Purdue
people keep
obviously beat
saying it
us.
was supposed to be a bye week, but Purdue's actually a really good team.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you play against someone like that every week in the MAC, like,
Yeah.
or they get out of their like they get out of their one tough game and they go play Tulsa, who's like 1-9 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
And then we're not impressive in that game either, which was terrible.
and
for
then
them.
look at Michigan
Yeah.
State. They get to play Maryland this week, and that should be pretty nice little rejuvenation game, I guess you call it. But then they got to play
Yeah.
Penn State and Ohio State back to back. Like, geez.
Yeah, I mean that's tough.
Though,
That's
that's all
tough.
based on the Big Ten's divisions are very poor right now. They got to fix those.
I mean, it's not right now. This is literally since they made the divisions. It's been this same problem.
No, because Leaders and Legends wasn't like that. Because remember, Michigan State and Ohio State played for the Big Ten championship.
Okay, that is true, but they only had Leaders and Legends for like 1 year, and then they immediately reformed it to East and West because
Yeah,
no one could figure out what Leaders and Legends meant.
At least it was a little more balanced.
Well, now it just doesn't. It doesn't even make sense now. It's like the 5 best teams in the Big Ten are all on one side.
I agree.
Just
Me and
like,
Steven talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
Like-
It's the same, well, it's the same thing the SEC has. Like the SEC, I think it's the SEC East, or yeah, the SEC East is like busted, and the SEC West isn't like even a real conference or something.
Don't worry, guys. Y'all are worried about Alabama. Texas and Oklahoma's coming to change it. They're coming to the SEC in a few years, and
Yeah.
Alabama will not be winning anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I feel like you don't believe me.
If that coincides with Saban's retirement, I guess I believe you. Is he about to retire? Or,
I don't even think Saban's a top 10 coach.
I mean, I guess you could make that argument, but he's certainly has like a top 1 or 2 program. Like even if he's not that good of a coach, he's a really good recruiter.
No, that dude's a monster.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Pro
I wouldn't make
wise,
the argument, but like even if you were going to, yeah.
no, that's fair. It should be interesting. Hell, maybe you'll need to get a Sunday off. Maybe at NRG. Is there any football going on that weekend? We'll have to just not make day 2 and we'll watch some football and skip modern.
They say, well, there isn't like day 2 is only top 8, so.
There's like
Yeah,
yeah, and then there's the modern tournament on that Sunday. Cause you know they
I'd
do
probably
too.
play in the modern. Honestly, I'm gonna try it out there. I might as well play the tournament.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm gonna have my YouTube TV again. So
Okay.
I
I don't know.
yeah, I have my YouTube TV. I'll be watching. That's what I did at SCG Con. I watched the game.
Man, I wish I had. I would have killed to see Kenneth Walker score 5 touchdowns. That would've been
Yo,
awesome.
that dude's a beast. He's a front runner right now to win Heisman. It's so wild hearing that a Michigan State
crazy.
player for a team that got 2 wins last year. It's nuts. It's just-
Yeah, I mean, the last game really killed him, but yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. It'll be a fun finish to the season. But yeah,
For sure.
like I said, one more time, Zach, thank you for coming on. We'll definitely
thank
have
you
to
guys for
link
having
up.
me.
Yeah, we'll have to link up in January after these tournaments are over. The Flesh and Blood season's coming up. Definitely be looking forward to your posting for REW when you do some Flesh and Blood events. I'll definitely have to make the trip out there.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really want to play one. So.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I definitely got you. I love the game. The game's gas.
Cool. It sounds cool. I mean, it sounds great. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, we definitely will. But yeah, you be safe out there and get ready for CubeCon 2.
CubeCon 2's happening. We're gonna stream that.
UConn
That'll happen.
2.
The sequel.
Guaranteed. CubeCon 2 will happen.
Cube.
But we might need to do a cube weekend anyway.
Yes.
I am down. I lost a card cubing. I went with 540 cards in the cube. I came back with 539. So
Ooh.
Do you know what
It wasn't-
card it is?
I don't know what card it was, and it wasn't an expensive one. So it's like clearly someone just dropped one.
Oh
I
man.
checked. Like all of my expensive cards are there. So it's like
I was a little worried. I was
I don't
like,
know what the card is, but
it's probably one of your one of.
One of the mono white cards.
I was
Probably
thinking
one of the mono
it's a
white cards.
black card and it's not expensive. I know that.
Okay.
I don't
Black card.
remember what it is.
At least
Yeah.
it wasn't expensive. That was sucked if it was expensive.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. You kind of realize like if you're taking a cube to an event, something's gonna happen. So I'll take. I lost
Especially
one
when
card, it
that
wasn't
many
expensive.
people are interacting with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like there's dual lands and stuff in there, so I feel like I got pretty lucky.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think it's worth it. It was fun enough that I'm still happy. I'll take losing like a $10 card or whatever. I don't know. I
That's
still don't
fair
even know
enough.
what I lost, but I'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe it
No.
was just like a frickin' kill spell or something. Just like a
Well, I know it's a
removal.
black one because I have counts, and you count how many cards are in each color. So I know it's a
Yeah.
black card, and there's not that many expensive black cards in the cube. And I looked, and they're all in there. So I don't
That's
know what
good.
it is. I'll have to. I don't actually keep a list, but I'll look through. It's probably something random like a zombie or something. I don't know.
Mm.
That'd be fine, yeah.
I'll look
Honestly,
through. I'll
maybe you
find
can
it.
just replace whatever it was with a card from the new set anyway.
I mean, that actually happens a lot, so it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not even that crazy
I
that
think
would
that's the
happen.
magic gods telling you, like, it's time to replace this card.
We'll check it
There
out.
actually seemed to be a fairly decent amount of like good black cards in this format potentially anyway. That might be kind of cool in cubes. So
Yep.
Yeah, I'll check them out. I haven't done a look at the new set for cube cards, but always on
yeah,
the
I
look.
haven't really either, but I'm just there are definitely some interesting cards coming out in the set. I'm pretty interested in the blood mechanic as a whole,
Sure.
how that one will end up playing out.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll have to look into it. There's usually like every set usually has like 3 cards that are good for cubes, so I'll
Yeah.
find them eventually and
Hmm.
put them in there.
Yeah. CubeCon 2, people watch for it on Twitter.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Oh, it's
It is
definitely
gonna happen, and Alan is gonna post about it.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
I can't. The only thing I regret from Cube on the weekend is not getting pictures of decks. I wish I had gotten some
That's
pictures
fair.
of decks.
Yeah, that was probably a punt, but it is what it is.
There might be a rule going forward. If you draft my cube, you have to take a picture of your deck laid out.
Yeah, it's because your coverage just wasn't up to par. You're
Look,
supposed
man,
to
I thought the coverage was pretty good.
you
I
have to
tried.
fill the void of SCG not doing coverage by doing some full deck text between rounds.
Dude, that's what I messed up. I should have done that. I thought
You
just
should
the
have
random
sat down
post
with
wasn't
deck
enough.
text. That
I
would have been
agree. You
so
definitely should
good.
have.
And you could be
For
like, I'm
sure.
here with Mr. Dykeman, the slowest player in mid-Michigan.
The good
Yes.
news is he drafted all red cards, so we might get out of here at a
And-
good time.
Live.
That was still the longest cube draft of the weekend, for the record.
Yo.
Already.
That was so funny
Um,
when Connor was like, Steven, will you sign this card? And Zach was like, oh, God, no.
Not right now, please. Any other time.
That
That was a
killed.
tough game, man. I was trying to work back from a Heliod. I was like very close to beating that too. I flooded pretty badly.
Oh.
I almost got that game back with that unholy heat on that angel. That was
Look, man, you're just lucky that I had a hangerback walker instead of the walking ballista that I thought I drafted.
yeah. That's
Oh,
you're not
my
wrong.
God.
But
That'll do it.
I mean, one of those cards kills him in the spot, the other doesn't. So
well,
Those are
the
doing
irony
good.
is I can't remember if I had removal up, but I had like a kill spell, so your hangerback was actually like super gas. I had that abrade, but I like
Mhm.
obviously it didn't. I mean, I think I was at 1, so the ballista definitely would have just killed me outright anyway. But
Yes, fair.
yeah,
All
But,
right.
but yeah, we won't take up any more of your time, though, Zach. I know it's late. Probably have to work in the morning. I don't know what you do.
Do.
But yeah, we thank you for coming on. We'll definitely love to have you come back on in the future. Hell, we might be talking to you about how your Storm Herald was so close to getting there until Steven solitude
What?
you out the game.
No, get out of here with that.
Well, I think that was a good narrative for how the future's gonna go. You were in
Look,
a
if I
winning
play
in.
Storm Herald, I'm winning the event. That's happening.
I play Storm Barreled. I'm winning the event. All right,
Round
fair enough.
one.
Everyone.
Round one, death and taxes.
Well, you can be sure that if I played Storm Herald, it's because the deck is actually broken. Because
Yeah.
there's no way Kyle's gonna let me do this. So.
Hell no.
You better believe if I do show up with Storm Herald, you should be scared. You should
Yeah.
be terrified, actually.
Because you convinced Kyle and Raja, either to convince them or drug them, one of the two.
Raja has agreed. Actually, Raja saw it last night. And he was convinced. We just need to get Bogmus on board.
Good luck.
It's gonna be an uphill battle, but we'll fight the good fight.
He's gonna come out with a cool stuff article that says like why real Magic players don't let their friends play Storm Herald, and I'm gonna be like, I wonder what this is about.
That's probably true. He might destroy us with it. He did not seem very receptive to the deck when we brought it up in chat.
I mean, I believe he's not receptive to it because he's been playing like super tier, like good, strong decks.
And
yeah,
he,
he's usually really
Months.
he's
good.
over
Yeah.
here. He's like, "Oh, I hope we're gonna do well." And then you're like, "Hey, Storm Herald." He's like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, he's like, dude, come on, what are you doing?
Like,
But listen, there's a little bit of madness to this process, and sometimes it hits. Once in a while, I've had a few events where I broke it. It was mostly with control decks, so this is a little off the beaten path. But yeah, I think the point is still true. If I show up with Storm Herald, it's broken. So just I don't know. I probably won't, but
Fair enough.
at least the thought is there. But yeah, well, good luck at the event. We unfortunately we made top 8, so it's cool. We don't like to brag. We're already there. Your resident.
Oh my god, I can't wait for us all to just totally bomb
Oh,
this
yeah.
event because everyone's talking mad shit right now.
Oh yeah, it's nice.
Just
Um,
mad shit.
I'm playing green white taxes, so I could. It's gonna be It's gonna be death and taxes for legacy, but I'm playing green for veils. That's all I
Really?
want.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Alright.
all I want. I don't think it's actually good, but the satisfaction
This
you
one's
get
really
from
bad.
veiling people.
I mean, Veil is a disgusting card. It made Brandon Dalloway just quit Magic altogether. So
Well, then that's why the
Um,
card should never be banned in anything. It
I
did
would buy
justice
it.
to the world.
Jesus. Alright.
Nothing but support over here.
Yep. All right, guys.
All right, man. Thank you for
Closing it.
coming on.
See you later, man. It's good
See
having
ya.
you.
See ya.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Anytime, guys. Talk to you later.
Talk to you
See
later,
you.
man. And that was Zach Allen. You could tell by the tone of his voice he doesn't want to play Legacy because he's terrified of me sitting across from him. I understand. That's why It's not that
I would
Storm
be-
Herald is good. It's that he doesn't want to run up against Larry.
I will be surprised if he ends up playing Modern just because I don't think Kyle plays that much Legacy, but we'll see what
It
happens.
would, yeah, I feel like it would take quite a weird turn of events to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I'm definitely playing Legacy. Steven's playing Modern. Noah's playing Sealed, Limited, whatever you want to call it. I know, Dewey, you're playing Modern, aren't you?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're doing a lot
man.
of testing for it.
Two people in this chat right now could be battling.
Yeah,
Dun dun dun.
yeah. For us, it was easy. With one, I think that Andrew's deck is so much more well positioned for Legacy, and he's got so many good reps with it.
I was gonna say, I
and
think
successful runs.
I think he's the strongest Legacy player out of Jeremy Pinter on the team. So, in my opinion,
Yeah, as far as the
he puts a
competitive
lot
side,
of time into it, though.
Yeah.
He does.
And that's why I want to give him the respect for it. He puts a lot of time. He's been tuning these decks for a minute. Hell, I watched him crush with some Legacy. Like, he was winning with Ninjas before it was cool. Like, but to be fair, he was winning with Hammer before it was cool.
Yeah.
He's always ahead of the curve. Like, now we just need a bad teamer pile to start doing well, and then he's full rotation. The world might end again.
Yeah.
But before we put a final wrap up on this week's edition, let's talk about some events that we got coming up. We talked about NRG pretty heavily. Dewey, there's a Buffalo. It's a weird event named Buffalo Chip Dip. Whatever.
It's the Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy Tournament.
Okay, that's a mouthful. It's in
Yeah, it
Columbus.
certainly
It's
is.
in Columbus. You can get the information on Facebook. It's the equivalent of a paper Eternal Weekend event, which is super cool that they're going to be doing where they allow proxies. You can't just Sharpie the back of a card. You got to print out some paper to put price slip in the card or something of that nature. But you can proxy up some cards. And with that being said, it's going to be a competitive tournament still. And they're going to have prizes. I believe there's like a Mox Diamond and some things of that nature. But in addition, they got a big old jumbo size custom brainstorm with the Buffalo Chip Dip card.
The buffalo chicken dip.
Yep.
Interesting.
And the art's cool. I would frame it.
Yeah, the art is really cool, and you do
Hmm.
get it framed. And yeah, they're giving out some nice prizes for like a $50 entry. You're gonna like get a shot at getting a Stronghold Mox Diamond.
Yeah.
Second place gets a Tundra, and then they're pricing out a top eight
Hmm.
with the current prize support. And then if they get to 64 players, they're pricing out to 16.
Hmm.
But honestly, I'm going just because I would really like to support these kind of events that are pushing for more proxies.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm going to be going, and if I continue with my current legacy deck, I'm not going to be proxy anything. But if I want to proxy up, you know, a better deck,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Exactly. I know me personally, I'm just gonna play the deck I'm gonna play at NRG because I'm
Yeah.
thinking about going to this event mainly due to the fact that it's gonna give me a competitive rep the week before we got the big event.
Right.
Hmm.
And I like the idea of a paper competitive tournament over the online version because the paper online's not gonna do a lot of the stuff for me. Where in paper I'm not gonna have that benefit. So I'd
Yeah.
rather play a paper tournament so I have a, get a little more familiar with what I'm doing. It's a team tournament, so I want to be a little more prepared than I normally would be. It's usually how I
Hmm.
approach team tournaments. I'm 100% playing Death and Taxes, mono white taxes, not this Now, even though, think about green white, Steven.
Sounds terrible. Please don't do this.
You don't think I should play a second color?
Nope.
Maybe a little bit.
Nope. Not at all.
All right, well we're back on mono white. Ooh, hear me out. Hear me out. Hold on.
Good.
Hold on.
Good.
Mono
I'm glad
black.
you're back on mono white.
Mono black taxes.
I'm surprised we ever left.
Should I
What is mono black taxes?
for plague engineer?
Okay.
How is this taxing?
Plague engineer does tax your
It's
opponent.
taxing my sanity. I'll tell you that much.
Ooh,
I figured that was
I got
what you're
this.
used to.
Actually, I got this.
You-
Demir
yeah.
taxes.
You
Demir.
never really get used to it, do we? Just
Come on, guys. Demir taxes. Look at this. Plague engineer and thief of sanity. Is Legacy ready for thief of sanity?
it
I mean,
probably
yeah.
is. Yeah. Yeah, I
They're
think
very
it
ready
is.
for
Yeah,
it.
I think.
I can still play Yorion.
You can. Yeah, that's true. You definitely can do that. That is an option
You don't think this
that
is
you
good?
have. I don't. I don't.
Well,
I'm not saying it's bad. I am saying that if you want to throw away your money, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
All right. So back on mono white taxes.
Yep.
I think so. Yeah.
We're gonna revisit this Demir taxes.
Again,
so-
I don't know that we ever left, but
Okay, so we're gonna be playing mono white taxes again.
yes.
We are gonna be playing Yorion.
Mhm.
Reasoning behind it, I think there's gonna be more fair decks, and I think Yorion fights the fair decks better than the 60 card build. I do think my combo matchups are worse. I'm accepting this. I am going to be addressing the sideboard. I need to figure out what combo decks we need to like put our target towards.
Yeah.
I think Doomsday should be like number one. I don't know what we do for Doomsday, honestly. I don't know if Mindbreak Trap is actually good against them. I'm not-
Yeah, I don't either.
I think Doomsday is just a bad matchup because that matchup's not good. Like it never feels good when I've played it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
and I played against a Doomsday pilot that is I won't say like he is a good Doomsday pilot, but he's not going to be like he doesn't put the play the deck enough like some players do, where they're going to be like tuned, like perfectly tuned.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if I'm struggling against a good player, what am I gonna do against like some players that's all they play online?
Yeah, that
they
makes sense.
like grinders, and I might just have to like plan the dodge, and I think you have to do that sometimes in these events. I just want to make sure that go ahead.
I was like, I always think you have to do that when it comes to Legacy, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't think Doomsday is going to be a high percentage at the same time.
Right.
Or I wouldn't. If I was thinking it was going to be a high percentage, I wouldn't be playing this.
Sure.
Obviously. Like, don't get me wrong, Doomsday. I think I could still win the matchup. I just don't think it's like good.
Yeah.
With that same light, or same thought, I should say. I think the Delver matchup's actually good, and that's the reason I want to play it. And I also think it's good against like the Jeskai Ragavan deck or Saga deck, whatever it's called. People like that deck. I think the Bant matchup's really good. Jonathan Blank. When I played against him, it didn't even feel close, really. Game 2, my keep was bad. I shouldn't have kept it. I tried to get a little lucky, and I didn't. Such is life. And he's a really good player, obviously. He's a really good Bant player. And that matchup felt really good. Because you know what card's really good against Bant? The nice little 2-drop that lets them not draw cards. Card's nice.
Yep, Spirit of the Labyrinth.
I'm also going to be on 4 Urza Sagas. Because that card is nice.
I'm just a fan of Urza Saga for that deck in general. So
yeah, when I played it last time, every time I drew it, I was like, man, I want more of these. Because another thing I'm thinking about when I was like playing it, I was like, all right, we're playing an 80-card deck. The chances of getting turn 1 Vial is low. I don't mind having the chance of getting turn 3 Vial. You know, turn 3 Vial still works. I'm perfectly okay with turn 3 Vial. I seen the list, like some of the one-ups that they're playing. I don't know like the logic of not playing a single Pithing Needle. Like, I feel like Pithing Needle is a nice card to be playing in the deck.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be main board. It could just be one of in the sideboard as a nice little catch card that you could bring in. But I feel like you should have at least one.
I think that's very fair.
Yeah. I also
agree. If you're doing all the Urza Sagas, that makes sense.
Also, I feel like people are too much on what the format was and not what the format is right now, because they cut Sword of Fire and Ice but they're playing Jitte, where I feel like it should be the other way around. I think Sword of Fire and Ice is just better than Jitte right now.
Sword of Fire and Ice is just really good.
Because Jitte doesn't do anything against Delver. Like, it really doesn't do nothing there. It doesn't do anything against Bant. Like, what are you going to do, kill a Euro? I guess you killed... I'm not worried about the 1/1s. Like, not even a low bat. I'm not...
Well, yeah, you just swing... if you have a Sword of Fire and Ice, they can't block anyway.
Exactly. So and against Delver, they can never block anything that's on. Jitte's not killing a Murktide. It's not.
No, it is not.
I'm also playing 2 Path in the sideboard. Because I want to respect Murktide that much. I don't. That's how I'll die. If they get a fast Murktide and I don't have an answer, I like having 10 answers in my deck. That's cheap, efficient answers to killing that card.
Yeah, that makes sense. For sure.
D&T plays around days so well as well. So.
Yep.
I think that tax is gonna be a good call for the tournament. I expect I expect Delver to be the number 1 deck. I will say the one thing about GT, which I wouldn't cut GT from the 75, by the way. I would just throw it in the sideboard. I still want the card. I just feel like I don't want to cut Sword of Fire and Ice from the 75 either. Because I need GT for the mirror match.
Yeah.
Because the mirror match is going to be tough. Mirror matches are tough.
Yep. GT is pretty important there for sure.
Yeah. Sword of Fire and Ice ain't the greatest in the mirror.
No.
Doesn't really do it.
Very good. Very good if it connects, but.
And GT is also good if I randomly play against elves. It's another matchup I like GT. But I think in the meta overall, it's not very good. But I'd still like it for when you play against some rogue-style creature decks.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think that's pretty much going to be my game plan. I don't think Burn's that bad of a matchup. Thali was pretty good against them.
Yep.
This should be pretty low percentage played anyhow.
I don't know. When people are desperate for a legacy player at these team events, that's the number 1 thing you can do is just have somebody play Burn. because they do get a
Isn't
lot. Go ahead. What?
I say, isn't like if you need a deck and you need a cheap deck, isn't um, taxes just cheaper?
Burns like a $200 deck. Taxes is over 1,000.
Oh, is it really only a $200 deck?
Yeah, bro. It
Yeah,
doesn't
Burn's
play any
not expensive,
fetches.
man.
It plays no
Oh wow,
fetches.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
That deck's and that 200's at the high end. I feel like you can get it even cheaper.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Burn.
looks like. Well, yeah, it looks like they're. Yeah, you can get it real cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Sub 200 if you don't even play Caracas.
Exactly. Um. So
Wow.
yeah, I was gonna say like Burn it. That's why you'll see Burn at these events like this is because it's so cheap.
Yep.
Because let's be real, Legacy is expensive as hell.
Yeah.
It is.
Like, and honestly, like transitioning modern decks into Legacy isn't as easy anymore because of how expensive Modern is.
Right.
I
The
do
only one that
think.
really has good crossover now is just taxes.
Yep. Zyphon,
Yep.
this the event that we're speaking of is the NRG event. That is not a proxy allowed event. Um.
The proxy one was a different one, yeah.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
I'm not gonna proxy anything that I can actually get for the tournament at the NRG though. Which I don't think that's a big issue regardless, because it's death and taxes. Everything is feasible. Like, I am still gonna play the one of Peacekeeper because I think that card's really good. I am gonna go and play Surgicals this time. Like, I think the person that had the list last time was a little bit of a psychopath. Not playing any Surgicals, I definitely missed those. Like, funny enough, it would have really helped. That's in our deck, because I think Reanimator could see a decent number at the tournament, because that's actually not too. Because honestly, you don't need a dual land to play Reanimator at all. Like, you definitely don't need that. So, definitely looking forward to that. D&T for me, just a matter of getting the main board's pretty locked. It's the sideboard that I'm messing in numbers with. I'll eventually just. We have a group chat here. I'm eventually gonna post that list in the chat and stuff. We need to start communicating a little more in there so we can get
Yeah.
planned and everything. Get that all taken care of. I'm also loading some money on Moto for some sealed leagues.
Nice.
I told Noah I'm gonna go and give him my password and stuff, and I just want him to jam leagues. If he runs out of tickets or anything, then message me and I'll reload it. I don't really care. I was like, I'd rather get quality reps,
hmm
and that's where you're gonna get your quality reps for a sealed tournament. So, that's my game plan to get us right. And then I know you. Do you have a front runner right now?
For modern,
Yeah.
I think I might play Shadow, but I need to start playing that deck a little bit.
Maybe we
I'm
should.
hoping Jeff has the cards for it, so I can like play it at FNM, and then we'll do some leagues at some point with it too. But yeah, we should definitely start playing our decks on Moto and like group chats and things.
Mm-hmm.
In the team area, we should all be getting together and playing our stuff.
Yeah, I agree. We just need to start. We do need to get some rest because we're getting close to just a few weeks away from that.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I mean it's next weekend, right? Or no, it's 2 weeks from. Is it 2 weeks from now? Thanksgiving is what, the 25th?
Yeah, it's 25th. So I mean,
So yeah, it's the
you have
weekend
like, you have
after
like two and a
Thanksgiving.
half.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you have like two
So
and a half
one
weeks.
more week than I thought we had, but still, definitely want to
Yeah, I've
start
been doing a
getting.
lot of. I've already been starting on the heavy testing train.
Yep.
yep, we'll definitely have to get that figured out. But we are gonna go ahead and put a nice little bow on this week's edition of Target Swish. We want to thank everyone that did come out to listen to the nice little conversation we had with Zach Allen. It was always fun talking with him, and our little conversation among teammates trying to figure out what we're going to do for Nerd Rage Gaming Series. But until next time, this has been Larry, Steven, and Dewey. We'll catch you guys